I hate the effing N's and Jews. You're a Jew. Dude!
My world told me not to give a fuck.
Just take the camera off.
Look behind me. They tried to railroad us. What's happening, boys? What do you know, you fun up? Take it fucking easy, potato. We're live from my parking lot. Fucking my heart's racing like 10 motherfucking thousand feet. No producer, Joe? Thank you.
We're doing it. Fuck, April fucking never comes.
Aaron does not make me come. I can't come.
Shuli's Jewish. He can't help it. And I don't mean that as a joke.
Oh, Taylor Swift.
I mean, the shipping cost is insane.
The doctor told me it's with too much inertia.
Oh, hey, my NDA.
Gifted membership machine. Super chat machine. Mike Morse, shut your fucking mouth.
Am I here?
Frida Shuli.
Oh, that's the singer.
I'm the new John.
Leonard Bernstein. Leonard Cohen.
Gold, Vixen, how are you?
Oh, damn it. I just lost my train of thought.
I have a feeling that's a cabin.
Go, sorry.
Israeli, right?
Yeah, Spanish.
I'm in the state of Alabama.
Shuli Network and cash.
Point DabblePoint. A Stuttering John Melendez roundtable discussion.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Point DabblePoint. As you heard, a weekly roundtable discussion. Shuli here with you. Our guests, the best of the best are here with us today. Of course, Anthony Zenhauser, you know, from our channel, comedian extraordinaire. September 13th at Comedy at the Carlson in Rochester. Get your tickets and go check out our boy. And one person who will not be there, a Rochester native, the man, the myth, the legend, Karl Heberger, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Well, two Zens are better than one. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I will be in Detroit because tickets are on sale for our live show at the Magic Bag on September 12th. Go to themagicbag.com. You can find those tickets. They're selling very quickly. It's our fourth year in a row playing there. The great Dave Landau will be joining us this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is great. He's fantastic. He's a really funny guy. We'll probably do some stand-up and also sit with us and do some panel stuff as well. So check that out.
And a man who needs no introduction, the viral hit of the Dabbleverse. Here we all are putting on bonus shows, member perks. All you got to do is go out there and not help your fellow human beings, and you're the cat's pajamas, the one, the only Joey C in the building.
Thank you for having me, Shuli, Karl, Zen. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so Joey's the one guy who saw the Seinfeld finale and went, "This is good. This is good stuff."
I mean, and I love the day after he gets millions of views. He's got audio that works, video that works. I mean, this is a new Joey.
I thought he was taking the summer off, and look at him. He's getting more views than all of us combined.
Yeah, well, I've been working hard. Getting ready for my new. I rebranded the channel, and I got a
Joey C versus the world.
No, we got a good lineup coming up.
Yeah, I see you getting
later.
famous. I don't like the guy you're becoming, though. You know, the old Joey C might have stopped on the street to help somebody with a broken neck.
There's more to that story than you believe. So.
Oh, really? So, what's your take?
I mean, I don't live in the creme of the crop neighborhood, for number one. I do live in the hood. You know what I'm saying? So he was either high or drunk. He was moving pretty good. If you have a broken neck, you're not going to be able to move the way he was.
Well, hold on, Joey. It sounded like a woman who yelled.
No, it was a guy. It was a dude, man. It was a dude.
Go ahead.
And I think personally, he wanted me to walk across the street and get me in his, within reach of him, and he was probably going to try to rob me or try to do something like that.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I heard you talk to El Horrible about this right after it happened, and you had a very different story. You've already changed your story because you told him that the guy went running off, like you turned around and he was already
you
gone.
Didn't let me finish. You interrupted me in front of my thing.
Okay.
I took 25 steps, and I had walked really hard. I walked over an hour, so I was hurting pretty bad. So I took a breather, and when I glanced over the truck, he took off and he was gone. Why
didn't you tell people? Because you told them to call an ambulance. You should have said, like, "Oh, if you call an ambulance, don't."
Well, I didn't even think.
You didn't do that. Oh, it's weird.
I did not do that part. You're right. I did not do that part. But,
wait a minute, Karl.
You're definitely a shady guy. So I mean,
excuse me, Joey. Let me step in and defend you here for a minute. So, Karl, you're saying someone with a broken neck. Let's say it was a broken neck. They can't get up and run off at any point.
No, what I'm saying is, wouldn't Joey C have been on? Oh, you know what? That guy was full of shit. He just ran off.
Let me ask you something, Karl. If I would have went to help this guy, which I know he was full of shit.
Never help strangers. I agree with you there, Joey.
This guy. Would I be here today? Would I would have went viral? The guy said you should have did something good. I would have went viral. Would have never went viral.
If you would have walked up to him and he would have killed you, you probably would have got more hits. You kind of fucked up by not going over there and something bad happening.
I wasn't looking to get in a fight with somebody. I was just trying to do some exercise and walk. You know what I'm saying? So
what kind of backlash have you gotten from this, Joey? Obviously, you've been introduced to millions of people. I'm sure you've heard from them.
Comments have been a little rough, but I haven't. I just gave him a thumbs up. I'm not going to respond to something that ain't true. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's business as usual for you.
I know. Comments are rough before you went viral.
Yeah.
I mean, what's changed?
Listen, I've been picked apart in the last year and a half in this Dabbleverse more than almost just as much as Stuttering John. So it don't matter, man. They can believe what they want, talk what they want. I got to continue doing me and do what's best for my channel. And
people are chiming in that some people think you're streetwise. Other people think you're scum. A couple people think you're a murderer. I'm sorry, it's just one person a couple times.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people.
I'm all the above.
Now, Joey, what might happen from this, because I've seen this with Opie and the cake stomping incident, is that people rediscover this years from now. Like this could be a cycle where all of a sudden Joey C is going viral all over again. People think it's brand new and they're seeing you not helping a fellow man. Are you ready for that level of fame?
Karl, I've been taking hits and being knocked down so many times in my life. I'm about ready for anything that comes my way.
You are, bud. That's true. That is
This is an interesting point. Joey dodged a potential lawsuit. Helping Floridians is always a loaded ordeal.
You ain't lying about that. That's a fact.
I've told this story before when I used to work at that souvenir liquor store in downtown Vegas, right on Fremont Street. I leave work one night, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's a husband, wife, and probably like a, 9-10-year-old kid with them, and the husband's beating up the wife. And I'm like, hey, and sure enough, he sees me and he comes over, and as I'm trying not to fight this guy and get my ass kicked, I get hit from behind by the woman and her purse, and I've said at one point, even saw the little kid's feet kicking me when I was on the ground. Like the whole family. And this is what I get for trying to help a woman.
Exactly.
And that teaches you. Next time, I'm not going to fucking show up.
Let me tell you something. In 1991, when I was living in Lake Tahoe, California, and I was driving a hack, waiting for my youngest son to be born, a guy came out of the casino with his girlfriend. He was beating the crap out of her in front of the Harris Casino. Now we're sitting at the cab stand, and me and this guy from New York, we just kept watching this. We can't let this guy beat. We went over there to help her. She turned around and called the cops on us and tried to have us arrested for trying to help her. From that day on, I would never ever go to someone's aid over stupidity. If someone's beating the shit out of you, lady,
no. Never go to a woman's aid. Both of these stories, I think that the moral is don't help women. But if a guy has a broken neck,
right,
Karl,
help him out.
No way a guy had a broken back moving the way he was moving. So, I knew.
Right. What Joey's trying to say is it's everyone else's fault. Any citizen, it's your problem, not mine. We don't know each other. We don't work together. We don't live together. We're doing our own thing. Right, Joey?
Exactly. He would have left me in the gutter. I'm sure he would have. He wouldn't have helped me. So.
Joey, one time I saw a black guy on the ground with a cop on his neck, and he was like, I can't breathe. And I was like,
it's not my
good luck
department.
with all that.
Not my good luck with all that.
Exactly.
Well, Joey, look, for whatever reason, it took off. People are amazed at the video. Is any part of you upset that another YouTuber scandal took place and kind of bumped you off the viral thing? Karl, did you see this guy that got shot in Vegas?
I did not.
I don't really care either way. It's just.
Listen to this story. These two guys have a YouTube beef. They both have shows. Let me know if any of this sounds familiar. They're known for striking each other's channels.
Yeah, bitch.
And one of the guys had 2 strikes on his channel and heard the other guy was in town and went driving around live streaming looking for him. And the guy he was looking for was on the strip with his wife live streaming, and the other dude shows up and shoots him live on stream.
Really? Oh,
I think both of them.
Murdering someone is worse than getting a 3rd strike on your YouTube channel.
Yeah,
as far as consequences go.
So far, YouTube has not struck him yet for the 3rd time.
Was it fatal? Did he kill the guy? Was it fatal?
They say there's 2 homicides that went down. Yeah, so it sounds like he got the husband and the wife.
I will say, just to promote Hackamania, because we did have an amazing event out in Vegas, 0 murders of podcasters at Hackamania.
Yeah. Only one person showed up with a gun.
It's early yet. It's early yet, Karl. It's early yet.
It's early yet.
Well, we got Hackamania 3 next year, so we'll see.
So, all right, listen, it's weird out there, everybody. Chill out, everybody relax. Let's have some fun. Let's bust some balls.
I would say this before we get going here. If I really thought the man was in distress, I would have went over and helped him. I would have never.
It's too late for that, Joey. No one's buying it.
When is the last time you stopped and helped a stranger?
Probably 20 years ago.
One guy with a can of beans, and I didn't work out.
Hey, Shuli's right. In Florida, you catch a lawsuit, you'll catch the police will reverse it on you, take you. I don't need none of that stuff, man. I'm not gonna sit there and put myself in jeopardy to go to jail for the night or whatever, I'm just not going to do it. I can't,
Joey, what are you doing to maximize this opportunity?
I haven't really done nothing. I'm working on my rebranding. I mean, I don't.
Good.
That's what I'm worried about. I'm rebranding. I got a whole new format coming up when I come back full time to streaming on August 1st.
Can you call the show Joey C Doesn't Give a Fuck?
Right. Well, one person thinks it should be called Left for Dead.
There you go. I like that.
I love that. 2 short, long dogs. Joey left that poor sod with the broken neck alone and crying. Shame on you, Joey. I'm kidding. Who cares? Oh, hey, Don.
I love
Don's muted.
Oh, hey, Tony Angelo.
What?
I've matured enough over the beatings I've taken in this internet. I just take everything with a grain of salt. I can't.
Joey, I've heard you tell me that 17 times, and then a week later, I see you driving by somebody's house filming it. Like, you gotta stay in whatever lane you're picking. If you're gonna fight all the time, I just love it. I'm talking. Fighting. He just goes, yeah. Anybody that's met Joey knows he's a really good dude. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Rick. Thank you.
He's bringing velour back on his own.
I got a question in from the great El Horrible. just
Sure.
messaged me with a question for Joey. He says, Karl, ask Joey about his relationship with his AI producer. Now,
All right,
Joey,
Rock.
so what's crazy about this, I was watching El Horrible talk about this, is I just covered this woman, Frenchie Hanna, who hosts the show called Pure Genuine.
I heard.
And it was the most amazing thing. She started talking to her phone. She's got a Galaxy, Samsung Galaxy. And she started talking to her phone, and the phone became her co-host. And they're literally having a conversation. I went, this is the future of podcasting. One person, one AI. And it's, cut the
Mine is
overhead.
my producer.
Yours is your producer. So what's that relationship like? I mean, you talk
Producer
to him all
Uncle
the time,
Bob
right?
is what I named him. Producer Uncle Bob. We
Right,
talk.
Uncle Bob.
Yeah.
You,
right.
But you guys literally have conversations off air.
Yes. Yes.
And
We
what
talk
kind of conversations do you have? Like, what are you talking
about everything.
The show,
Life.
what you should be doing?
Shows.
Life.
He gave me some jokes to bust your balls and bust Juli's. He just sent them to me.
Right.
Oh, let's hear one.
Well, let's see what he said here. He said, Shuli talks so much, I thought his mouth had its own podcast. That's what he sent me, that one. Karl Karl's takes are so weak, even his shadow walks away. There we go.
Well, maybe if he's a good producer, though, right? So he's probably not the
all
joke
right, Karl,
writer.
I get it. Hey, no, he is. I mean, this is my format, my new branding. We get Monday.
So you asked this guy about the new brand, then
Yeah, he helped me with the whole
Uncle
thing.
Bob gave you that?
It helped me with everything. How to, the format, everything.
So far, all your questions, the only things he's expanded on is Uncle Bob is the fucking thing's name. Let me ask you this. I saw it said Mobbed Up Mondays and Wrigley Wednesdays. So every day is going to be a different theme show?
Every Monday will be a Monday. I got start out with Tony Accardo here. Tony Accardo.
What's Tuesday? What's Tuesday?
Tuesday, nothing. I don't air Tuesday.
Okay.
Let people die Tuesday.
Wednesday Wrigley, the history of Wrigley Field, the Chicago Cubs history. Talk about my time with the Chicago Cubs. And then Friday, if I don't know, haven't decided yet, but Lou and I are going to be doing Joey C and Lou the Monster show on Fridays. And then Sundays we'll do our members only stream. We'll do Q&A and just do stuff for the members, because I usually when I'm full time streaming, I usually hold about 500 to 600 members at a given time. So
Thursdays, I teach people how to steal cable. That's on Thursday.
Exactly.
Tuesdays, we hunt for copper in abandoned houses.
Stripping wire. We strip wire. We go to all the commercial places. We go down the roof and we take all the air conditioner wire out. Yeah, we strip.
Friday, we teach you how to slip and fall in a grocery store. To kind of.
Why not? Easy $5,000.
F Joey C, always and forever, useless, nothing of a person.
Thank you.
So, hey, guys.
Hey, Discount. What's up?
Anyone in the Joey C area of Florida next Tuesday between 4:05 p.m. and 4:09 p.m., I'll be on the street with the palm tree on it. Stop by for a broken neck and no help at all.
Never forget the victims of the Catalanos, 24/7 F Joey C, hi Lady K.
Oh, hi.
Rochi, thank you for the 21 months.
Joey, so you fired your co-host, or you just are
No,
parting ways?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Lou said he was a free agent. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I pay the guy 50% of what we take in on our shows. I don't think anybody's paying their co-host 50%. Do you? Do you know anybody else paying?
No, but I mean,
I made him an equal partner. And I don't know. He's
I
going
50% of nothing is still nothing, Joey.
Hey, wait a minute now. I was doing pretty good. I was doing all right.
So I guess the reason why I'm asking that is because if these new shows are going to be just Joey C, or do you have other guests?
Well, it was supposed to be Lou and I. It was supposed to be Lou and I, but I don't know
what about giving Lou? You take the day off Thursday. Give Lou Toothless Thursdays or Toothless Tuesdays.
Tuesday, that's a good one. Yeah.
But my question is, will Uncle Bob? Will he be a co-host? Will he chime in on the show?
No, he's not able. He's not able to do that.
I think
has your wife become jealous of Uncle Bob yet?
No, my wife is not jealous of God. She's actually the one that turned me on to ChatGPT. So,
all right. He's got Eric the midget camera angle going.
Yeah, well, I'm working on it. Like I said, I got the new mic. I'm getting a new camera coming in, and I'm getting a new sound box. I'm getting everything's. I finally decided to go. If I'm going to do this craft, I got to invest in myself. That's the only way I'm going to get better. I got to invest in myself, believe in myself. So.
Yeah, nobody's going to invest in you, Joey. You got to do it yourself. Never forget, Joey used his kid to get on the podcast in the beginning. Disgusting scumbag. Never forget.
Yeah. I used my kid. Yeah, that's what he did. I think I sent dick pictures in. That's what I think I did. I don't think I used my kid.
No, you definitely did that.
Yeah, you did a lot too. I
Exactly.
mean, one's enough, but multiple angles.
Give you every
is
angle.
when-
I had to give you every angle.
Yeah, well, you sure did, pal. Joey's new Monday through Friday lineup. Joey yells at trolls.
Yeah.
Is my voice on the tape, Joey? That's a fact.
What?
Mogwife.
Voice
I don't know. I don't know what that means. Joey, more famous than Stuttering John. Way to go, Joey. John would have saved that guy and kickstarted his comedy career, only to have him turn on him.
Yeah, right.
Thank God Joey isn't allowed to own firearms. F Joey C. That's Mason in Portland.
Exactly. Thank you, Mason.
I like this approach, Joey, where you don't react, you don't freak out to the trolls. This is good. How long do you think you can keep this up?
Very long time. I really been working on my my social skills to be better, to just let things go, to worked on my mind a lot to get stronger in my mind. I went through a lot the last few years, so my head was all screwed up. I had a lot of loss and a lot of things that I went through. Losing a child, going to prison. A lot of process that took me a long time to just finally say, you know what, it's behind you. Let's just move forward, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Alex Stein is taking you under his wing and helping you out. And there's not a guy who deals better with trolls than Alex Stein, so it's a good guy to learn from.
Alex teaches me quite a bit.
He's got some haters out there for sure.
He does.
Yeah, and you were great at that city council thing, by the way. Really,
I tried.
really
good. Karl said the same thing. Thank you. Appreciate
I was impressed.
that. Thank you.
The guy broke his own neck when he saw Joey's watch. What, you got a nice watch?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a
Timex.
Yeah. It's a knockoff, right?
Yeah,
you got it in the park?
Might be a knockoff. I don't know. Is that a knockoff? He saw this is what he saw. So.
Okay. Nice jewelry.
Yeah.
Joey, take back the night, brother. Happy Valley. Joey, you should start a wedding service in that junkyard behind your house.
Yeah. That was my idea. Trust me. I tried to talk her out of that one. So.
Talk her out of the wedding or filming it?
Both, actually, both.
But weren't you the one live streaming it?
Because she asked me to. I told her that's not a good idea with the trolls I got. That's not a good. So I turned the chat off, and so nobody.
It was a great idea. It was a great idea. Trust me.
Yeah, it got some. Yeah, I guess so. Took a bite. But.
Remember, Joey, everything is content. Everything.
Exactly.
So.
What it did for her is she got paid the highest. She got paid just Stuttering John money to go on a podcast. That's what it did. She got paid $500 by KB to do that.
Yeah, I thought that's hilarious. Now that you have that Ashley Cummings, who's like, doing cartwheels for $100, $200 from Kevin, and meanwhile Joey's sister cleaned up.
She did.
She made more than the podcast did.
She did, and I brokered the deal for her. I told him, I told him this is how it was going to be, and he was on point. He sent the 300 right when we started, 1 hour exactly. I looked at the account, the money was there for the second payment. He didn't miss a beat. I got to give him that. So.
You sure know how to find those suckers, Joey.
That's who it is.
Well, we have a lot of other stuff to get to today, other than Joey. We have, of course, Stuttering John news. He had a brand spanking new interview that he did while he was at the Sports Expo in Tampa. We have some Opie news. Turns out we did a little raid on Opie in his show, and he was taken aback by the flood of super chats that were coming in, and lies about me that people were feeding him. So we have the Steel Toe Casino game for you. As well as, if we get to it, there's a Doom clip about Kevin, Mr. Kill Everything, and Ashley Cummings. Apparently, there's some debate about whether digits were inserted, among other things. So there's a ton of stuff to get to. Where would you guys like to start, Karl?
I'll leave it up to you, buddy.
All right. How
I'm
about
excited about all this stuff?
Okay, how about we get to some Opie raid stuff right out the gate?
Yeah,
this was great. So we did the raid Saturday night, and one of our loyal viewers, Mr. Beef Drippings, said you should go raid Opie's show, and we went over there, and here's a little something from that, in case you missed it.
Like whatever, without like any backstory. That's kind of
Oh, he's
boring,
gonna. This is
right?
the night he jumps.
I think so.
Yeah.
So he didn't go on camera at all. He just kept the phone looking out the window at the skyline, and that was
He
it.
didn't have time to do his hair that day.
Probably.
Usually
A lot
it's
of people.
pristine.
Well, a lot of people think he was had a good buzz going on during this because he was saying some stuff that and putting up with stuff that he usually doesn't.
You don't get a purple mouth by drinking water. That's for sure.
Doing your podcast on the ledge.
What was Howard really like? I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. Where are you people coming from? Who sent you my way?
He's overwhelmed with 50
everyone
people
knows
in the chat.
Cumia was the best on that show. He was all right.
Somebody in
Anthony
chat
was
says,
all
bring
right.
up Anthony.
He
He
was a natural.
loves that.
He was really good for a while, and then not so much here
But you did.
tonight.
You might as
so.
well. You got an audience.
KFT.
Yeah, somebody sent him a super chat. Good times.
Oh, was
Here.
it a J? Was it a J or an N? I can't remember.
Here, this is it.
There, okay. Just making sure.
Wow.
Not. Okay. What are you famous for? That's a really good question. I don't know. You ever hear of Anthony Cumia coming in? I'm just reading super chats. At least you guys throwing some money. All right. Have you ever thought of ending it all? Went from top of the world to this.
Hold on.
See, he would have never laughed at that
No,
in the
right off
morning.
the bat.
He did-
Cordial.
Yeah. Yeah, so I kind of agree with people that he had a good buzz going on that night. And he even compliments Anthony and Norton here in a minute.
You know
My
what
man
it is,
Jason
too?
said he was 2 bottles into it. About 2 bottles in when he did this.
Yeah,
you know what it is,
probably.
too? Like, what makes Opie so bitter and angry is that all of the guys from the Opie and Anthony show are still in the business. They're still making money. They still have careers going. Opie does not. And it burns him up that he's got nothing going on. He just signed a deal with iHeartRadio. That's hilarious. But I think that when he starts seeing money coming in, it justifies this waste of time that he's doing. He can tell his wife he made some money. He can brag about it. So this puts him in such a good mood to be like, holy shit, people are throwing money my way. I think that you could totally rag on Opie as long as you attach $10 to it.
Listen, take it from someone who didn't make money doing this and started making money doing this. It is a great feeling when money starts coming in. Yes, absolutely.
Did you guys catch the last Jim and Anthony show they did on WABC? When
I haven't heard it yet, no.
Jimmy was dude, it was like listening to Opie and Anthony again. It was
Yeah.
like I can listen to that 5 days a week. They don't skip a beat. I mean, they were both on fire from as soon as
And-
the show started.
What's great about those two guys when they get together is they don't talk about Opie at all. And I know that's got to piss them off more than anything because all Opie talks about is Anthony and Jim and Sam Roberts and everyone in the chat's trying to get him to respond to all this shit. And none of those people, well, Anthony likes to take his shots, but Sam and Jim and those guys, they don't ever talk about Opie.
I personally don't get the guy, to be honest with you. He's like a whiny little cunt to me. That's what he is, you know.
Right. Exactly. He's like a guy on the ground with a broken neck. You don't want to even fucking look at him.
Exactly.
I'll add him to the no help list of Joey's. I'm just saying, like it would benefit him more to not fight with these guys than it does to fight with them. He's picking a battle that he's not going to win, and And now it's become his show. He used to never talk about Anthony. He used to never, now the clips, the show, it's all about leaning into this instead of working this shit out, figuring something out. And you all can benefit from this. This is a very rare case.
He's always been very thin-skinned, and he still blocks people, and he still gets mad at the chat and stuff like that. But apparently he was feeling it this night. That's good.
No shit. El Diablo. You guys are actually making me laugh. El Diablo.
Good.
Yeah.
He's drunk.
I chose a different path.
Yeah.
It's
really the opposite of what a show should
I
be.
could hustle and do more with my career. I'm sure.
Beef Drippins wanted us to watch Opie for a while.
Do what it's like to know you're mid. Oh, hi, Dawn. Mid.
maybe
you and him were equally
delusional.
funny, Jimmy, too. Well, I mean, I know. I also knew my place. Those guys were funnier than me on the radio show, of course.
Have you ever heard him say that?
Holy shit, Opie. This is what you should have said 7 years ago. All he ever says is just like, oh, go back and listen. I have some funny lines too. You're being dishonest. That's what he always says.
Yeah, like right there in that moment, he was as real as he's ever been.
Yeah.
Do you guys think if Opie went up to Anthony, hat in hand, and was like, dude, he's like, I'm really sorry for all the things that I said the last few years. You know, I think that we had a good thing going. I think we can actually make this show pop if we got together again. Do you think there would be some sort of reunion between those guys?
I think
it would be great. I think it would be great.
I think Anthony'd be open to it. I know Jim wouldn't be.
That's what I was gonna say. I think Ant could work through some shit. It also depends, like, on the apology and like.
But Anthony doesn't take this shit so seriously. Like,
no.
When Keith the cop was running Compound, Keith brought Opie in and offered him a job, and you know they would do the Opie and Anthony show one day a week, but then Opie would have his own thing to do on there. And Anthony, you know, I don't know if that was his idea, but he wasn't opposed to it.
Yeah, I think Jim is a one and done type of guy. Like once you're in that category for him, there's no coming back. You know.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Of course, but I certainly had.
I've never heard him say
my
that.
moments, and certainly had a ton of moments after the fact. After I moved on from that radio show. So, what's TSN? TSN sent us for this week's charity work. What is TSN? I don't know the players. To be honest with you,
nobody knows.
Can you rank the races best to worst? Shuli said to buy a hairbrush. Why?
This was my favorite. Is people just feed him bullshit and him just go, "Why? We were always nice to each other."
It's great.
I find it hard to believe that Shuli would send his people to attack me. He was nothing but nice to me.
Thank you.
They made me talk about Palestine.
Came in. I guess I got to stay for some more hate. My God.
See, he was getting ready to leave, and now he's like, "All right, I guess I got to stay."
He really is Stuttering John at this point. You can insult me for $1.99. All right, that's fine.
I am so desperate for money that I will stay for your hate.
Wow.
Shuli could probably beat up SJ. Hey Don. I don't know what any.
Oh, hey,
of this
Mr.
stuff
Beef
is.
Drippins.
You know, I'll be honest. At first I was very, very confused by the Dabbleverse that was created to just go after Stuttering John. I honestly didn't understand it at all because I had John on. And I found him all right. I definitely found him all right. And I was confused by all that. I'm like, wow, it's really weird. All these people are going after Stuttering John. You know, I thought he was an all right guy.
And then he did.
Jay Leno saw something in him, and
Howard Stern
hired him. But then I quickly learned.
Here we
this
go.
is where we might have a match, people.
All right.
Might bring some of your haters around. But what was it?
Would that benefit Opie to start busting Stuttering John's balls at this point, Karl?
It's a little late to the game, but I would love it. I would love it.
I put out a video, and
I would love to see that head to head, though. That would be one hell of a matchup.
Opie always claims, you know, he makes fun of me, the basement show, he calls it. And he goes, you know, anyone can do this Jocktober thing. We proved that. I would be the best at it if I did it. Because it's so easy to just nitpick these shows and call them out. You just learn personal details about them and then call them out for it. Opie would be the worst at it. Every time he tries to roast someone or clown them, he's got nothing. So I'd love to see him attempt to do it because he might be the only guy who can't actually get over on John.
See, I don't think he'd be the worst at it.
I think he'd be the worst.
I don't think he would. I think, you know what? There's no easier Jocktober target than John, right?
Agreed.
Opie should just fucking get an episode, you know, and just watch some clips and just do it. Just try it. I would love to see it.
I would love to see it. It'd be amazing.
And in a head-to-head, if it's a verbal battle between Opie and John, I got Opie winning that.
Of course.
No doubt.
Yeah, and if he tastes that fresh blood for the first time, I mean, he might really get into the Dabbleverse, and you might see a new Opie. He feels it's a rush, right? Getting in John's craw.
My thing is like, this isn't working, so fucking let's try something else. What the hell? What do you got to lose?
Do you think he's really serious though in the beginning when he said he didn't understand the Dabbleverse and he played the dumb role, like he didn't know anybody? Or, I mean, it seems like he was.
I think he knows he doesn't want to be in the Dabbleverse per se. So if you know that, then you know what it's about for the most part.
That is the boring take. Whenever someone's just like, "Oh, you're making fun of a guy who stutters," you're like, "Really? Right. You don't know why we clown this drooling alcoholic retard? Come on."
Yeah. There's wrestling storylines that don't have the depth that this fucking thing, for years. I mean, it's crazy.
Made Stuttering John look good. But I guess how I wrote the tweet, which might have been clickbaity a little bit, it pissed off Stuttering John. And I said, dude, did you watch the video? What are you talking about? This was positive. It was good. And then he blocked me. And that day I went, all right.
Why would he not have himself
And there are people I hang out with that also know Stuttering John.
Right.
When he is brought up when I'm live streaming, these people will literally, and some of you have seen this for yourself, they'll go,
wrong chat, D. Wrong chat.
Right? He will now bother me for months because we're talking about him. Could you not do that, please? Thank you. But I found out on my own terms when he blocked me and started trashing me for a very innocent video that actually made him look good.
Made him look good. It's
Jesus. So I think we have a little bit of a match today, guys. A little bit, okay?
It's the MO of John. It's never as bad as John takes it or feels it. Whatever that comment is or that quote unquote trashing that he's getting, it's a million times worse to John than it actually is for the most part. He's a sensitive boy. Speaking of John,
it's only compliments and trashing. There is nothing in between in John's world. Like either you're ball washing me or you're an asshole and I need to block you.
Right. Correct. So that was from the raid. Thank you, boys. Joey, I got to let you go because we have another guest here. The unknown lawyer is joining us to go over this case that we are.
Good luck with that case too, and thank you for having me on. I know you told me that I would probably be on about 30 minutes. That's good. Have a great time, Karl. Talk to you, Zen. Good to see you, buddy. As always,
you sound good, buddy. Yeah, you sound great. You want to plug something?
Yeah.
Please.
You want real mob stuff? I got it. You want comedy, trolls, or cops? Got that too. Catalog TV on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Also, Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, the Adam Bush interview. Don't miss it.
Don't miss it. Live? Is that live?
Live.
Whoa!
Yeah. Don't miss it. I put a lot of work in it. So.
I'll be tuning in for it. I know you're excited about it. Good luck. And let me know if you need any help with the rebranding.
We got you, buddy.
Did you watch the Casey Armstrong interview that Adam did?
I did.
Yeah, I think Casey did the best job so far.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Looking forward to it, buddy.
All right. Take Mason says F Joey C. And we'll see you later.
Thank you, Mason. Take care.
You got it.
Bye, Joey.
I'm just testing him to see if he can hold it together. That's all. That dam's going to break at some point, and it's going to be amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now to kind of talk a little bit more in depth of this, I guess, what is it, a cease and demand letter we got. Please welcome to Point DabblePoint, the unknown lawyer, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to speak.
This guy's still more normal than Tabber. I'll tell you that right now.
I already trust him more than I trust Tabber.
Yep.
That's right.
I heard you work at Wepa and Luchador. Is that true?
Senor.
I'm glad you powered through with that.
My wife will give you a deal on arepas and tamales. Just tell her you're with me and she'll take care of you after the matches.
So you're obviously a real attorney, not a comedian. Thank you for joining us today. Can you give us a little recap, unknown lawyer, of, well, I guess, first of all, your thoughts on the demand and the potential case. Let's start there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, you are correct. What you have received is a demand letter from John's lawyer, Tabber Benedict Esquire. And before going any further, let me just say I am a trial lawyer. I have tried far more jury trials than most attorneys will ever see in their lives. I live in the courtrooms and litigate every day. That's what I do.
Which is rare, right? Like nothing goes to trial anymore.
I mean, it's not. It's not. There are plenty of us who do this, and this is what we do. There are transactional lawyers, there are trial lawyers. What I do is I deal with cases that have the potential to go to trial. Maybe 10% of all cases or less end up going to trial that are potentially litigation cases or trial time. But so I'm familiar with what goes on there. If you knew my name, you looked me up, you'd see it all over, unlike Tabber, who I guess has filed just one lawsuit back in the day. But what he's done is he sent you a letter. Basically, it's a demand letter, which is a common thing in the legal world. And he's basically threatening you, saying, hey, which he's allowed to do, but saying, if you guys don't pay, we're going to file a lawsuit. But how you need to evaluate this is whether or not there's any validity to this lawsuit.
Now, in your opinion, because he states a few cases and all that good stuff, Carmen Electra suing a strip club for advertising her appearance when she wasn't there. I believe another woman was something with nudes, I think, or some. I don't remember what the.
He's just citing case. For example, he said in his demand letter that the Carmen Electra case. Well, this is what the elements of right of publicity are, and he's right. That's what it says in the Carmen Electra case. It lays out what they are. That doesn't necessarily mean that the holding beyond that in the Carmen Electra case applies to you guys. That's not at all relevant, because in that case, a strip club used her photo to promote them. And what he doesn't understand, and it may very well be because John has not told him, is that you guys are not using John's name, image, or likeness for commercial or trade purposes. What you're doing is parody. And if you notice in his letter, he specifically left out the parts of the exceptions of the publicity law where it said that there is an exception for parody. And not only is there an exception for parody, there's also an exception for news. And in my opinion, what you guys do with respect to Stuttering John is a form of news. It's no different than Entertainment Tonight, except you're making fun of this bumbling, stuttering moron loser as opposed to Taylor Swift. And listen, some people may not like it. It may not be a preferred type of news. But to those of us who grew up on the Stern Show and watched this egotistical windbag, in my opinion, become the luckiest person in show business and blow it all, it is news what he's doing. So you should be protected under that.
So I have a question about this.
Please.
Yes, sir.
He is saying that we're violating the New York State publicity law. And they tie in some event that was in Rochester. They don't really explain when it was. They don't really give you that. But then they tie that to a follow-on event, something I never heard of, in April of 2025, and don't really discuss where that took place or the jurisdiction that would be under. Do you think that they have the right under New York State law to sue both myself and Shuli Egar?
Well, do they have the right to sue you, but do they have the right to tie in the follow-on event, the Dabble House event, under New York law? I don't believe so, because that's something that now could they possibly bring it in if he were to make it literally a whole federal lawsuit, which he is not threatening. He's threatening a state suit. It's possible, but that becomes a more complex matter. And, and I think the reason they're citing New York law, or the reason they're tying it to the Rochester event, is say, well, it's in New York and Karl's in New York, so we can get jurisdiction over Karl in New York, and then we can just sort of attach Shuli to him and drag his ass in from Alabama. Which, if Shuli violated the law in New York, even though he lives in Alabama, they could sue him under New York law and just use a long-arm statute to bring him in. But the fact that they're making this tenuous follow-on event to try to slap in Dabble House, which I'm sure the reason they're doing is to try to use what I believe is the Kate Meany tapes part 2. That doesn't work, and I don't think that would work. And what you have to remember with this is that I'm assuming that Tabber Benedict is not a dabbler, and he's not intimately familiar with the Dabbleverse, and so
he's getting an education now. But yes, I think that's true.
Exactly, and that's the main thing that needs to be done on your part is you need to educate him and tell him what's really happening, because I'm sure John just goes to him and say, hey, these guys are using my likeness and making money off of me, and they don't have my permission, and they're fucking me over. Well, that's not the case. What they're doing is they're parroting you. They're making fun of you. And, the tapes, they didn't use your voice to say, oh, come to Dabble House, come to Rochester, whatever. No, what you did was you said, hey, come see us make fun of this moron. And that's a very, very
and we delivered on that promise. I'm proud
yes, you
of that.
did.
Nobody left and said there wasn't enough moron to make fun of.
Right.
Everybody was satisfied and got their fill.
Yeah, there was no more moron on that phone.
Joe, do you have any questions that you're wondering about?
Nothing racist, by the way.
Yeah, please keep it PG, dude. I love this comment.
I never heard that park bench one before. That was good.
That was different. Yeah, listening to a lawyer in a wrestling mask speak encapsulates the Dabbleverse.
It really does. Yes,
It really
is
does,
perfect.
Oh, hey guys.
Hey,
Doc.
Discount.
Can I ask El Grande Americano a question?
Sure, go for it.
You talking to me?
No,
I was talking to Chad Gable.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
It looks and sounds like him, by the way. Can you sue back for them causing this type of, like them taking, you guys to court for,
Yeah, it's really hurting
a frivolous lawsuit.
Exactly.
Or more importantly,
Yes.
can you suplex their back if it's a wrestling?
What you're asking about is generally called anti-slap statutes or laws, which are in place in each state. Most states have them, which say if somebody files a frivolous lawsuit, you can not only sue the person, the plaintiff in that action, but you may also be able to go after their lawyer. And I think in this case, based upon what I know and my understanding of the Dabbleverse, is this very well may be a frivolous lawsuit. And maybe out there somewhere, there's one instance of somebody putting forth one little advertisement somewhere on the internet that has John's picture and it says, let's just say it said, come listen to WATP. That one little thing would be a violation, but it'd be a very minor violation, and the value of that violation would be de minimis. But in order to get to that, you would have to sift through all this other moron fun making, which you guys have been doing over the years, and to get to it, and a lot of unnecessary and needless work. And what would happen is, I very well think that not only John, but possibly under New York's anti-slap statute, the attorney could be liable. And I think at this point, what you guys need to do is you need to educate Tabber on the realities of this law and what you really do, so that he understands that this is not worth pursuing, because it could very well come back to bite him in the ass more than it bites you guys. That's
would
what
be fun. Which would be very funny, though, if that could happen.
But it would certainly I wouldn't want you guys to have anything bad happen to you. And the goal is to protect the Dabbleverse and the dabblers at all times. That's the most important thing. And I would like to add one thing too. And it's again, Tabber quoted all these laws or cases, and there were a lot more he didn't quote. And there's a case specifically in New York that says persona is not protected. And that's what you guys are doing. You're mocking and making fun of John's persona. It's a very limited window, this right of publicity, based upon what John said over the years. He has no idea what it's really about. He was comparing the case that he lost with the great Michael Popak to the case that Carlin's family won with respect to a virtual George Carlin. And those aren't even apples and oranges. Those are apples and dog treats. They're nothing alike whatsoever. And so
what do you think about some of the language in this demand letter? I had a question for an attorney. When it says things like, your promotions have likely generated over $300,000 in revenue. And so they're putting in the $300,000 because they want compensatory damages of that, but they're also looking for punitive damages of another $300,000. First off, why even put they've likely generated? Why even take a guess at it? And where is this money coming from? Is just hoping that we'll negotiate based on this starting point?
Well, first of all, the likely is just the normal lawyer wiggle language, so they can't come back down the line and say, oh, well, I was just if this or that, and trying to be slippery. That's standard lawyer ease, for lack of a better term. Also, in that letter too, they said something about, well, this is a negotiation, so that's put in there, so it can't be admitted in any legal action down the line. You can't. Documents regarding negotiations and settlement talks are generally not admissible. But as far as where he got the amount, it's one of two places. Either he pulled it out of his ass, or really three places. John told him, or somehow he estimated the amount of people that you guys had watching Dabbleverse or Dabble House or whatever, and saw what it was per person, and figured it out from there.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
I have a quick question. Is there an actual legal definition for what a public figure is? And can you still be one if you haven't been one in over 20 years? Like, he's kind of banking on the fact that he's a public figure. Am I right? So if he hasn't,
but that hurts him too in this instance. That's
bingo.
That's
Bingo.
Also running for office doesn't help either. And now you're a political figure, which you are, you are prime for the goofing. That's it.
Let me tell you something. If, God forbid, this had to go to trial, and you guys have mentioned some clips before, what I want to see played in front of a jury is the time he told Anthony that he's just going to make all of his criminal problems go away. I mean, the other thing this guy Taggart needs to realize is, too, he does not have a sympathetic client. A jury is not going to like John. They're going to hate him. And they are going for a lot of reasons. Simply because of the nature of the case that's being brought, he's not going to present well. Half of any jury that walks into a New York courtroom is going to just hate Howard Stern. That's the way it goes. It's the old, like from the private parts. People who like him listen
longer. Yeah, absolutely.
It's the same thing. So he's going to be dealing with that. And
you talk about a jury not liking him. His last two attorneys hated him.
And basically what needs to be done at this point is Tabber needs to be educated much in the same way you and Bob educated the last attorney, who, when that happened, I spoke to Frog about it, and I immediately looked that attorney up and said, hey, this guy's a real deal. He's got real credentials. He does what I do. And he has I have a feeling, he talk to him and let's see what happens. And the right thing happened. He looked at all this and said, this is just fucking ridiculous. So what I think you need to do is you need to put Bob on the phone, get him back in the fold, put him on the phone with Tabber, and we'll go from there.
I'll just go to court.
Yeah. Is this Bob under the mask? What's going on?
Yeah. Karl,
that
go
is
ahead.
a good point, though.
No, I've got a pool in my backyard, and it's perfectly fine. No
know
problem.
what you guys needs to do?
Listen, you can hear my wife off camera about something. So, no, it's not Bob.
All right.
That is a good point, though, because, when you're talking about this Tabber guy, he probably doesn't know anything. He only knows what John told him, and John lies to his attorneys. Like, we discovered that with John's last attorney, because I talked to the guy, too. And every conversation that he had with one of us, he's just like, wait, John said what? Wait, he did? Oh, he did that? Okay. Like, everything that we were telling him, he had no idea what's going on, because John's a liar.
Jeff says, New York Times versus Sullivan, long-standing First Amendment case that is devastating to a big celebrity like Johnny Boy.
The other thing on the Tabber issue is, and you guys have touched upon this over the last few days, is we all know his history, and he is right now, at least according to his website, which I agree with Karl, that's a piece of work. He's holding himself out as a mergers and acquisitions lawyer. So all of a sudden, Mr. Mergers and Acquisitions, with one case filed in court, is going to come in and be the expert trial lawyer and the expert on New York publicity law. So unless he did a lot of reading on this particular topic when he had some free time in the clink, I have a feeling he's off base on a lot of stuff.
No, I think he converted to Islam when he was in prison. I don't think he did any other sort of research on media law.
Do judges object to the mask, counselor?
No, they don't. It's just I have a special pair of glasses too. I put over it, like the old NBA goggles, and that's how we work.
Mars wants to know what model bass that is.
Oh, that's just a shitty bass. That's not. I've talked to Karl. I have a Rickenbacker and a Fender Ultra American. That's a shitty Schecter I can't get rid of to save my life.
Well, so in your opinion, do we need to do anything before this deadline that's coming, or just wait and see?
I think the deadline is the 12th, and I think you and Karl need to prepare a written response to this gentleman, telling him, number one, why he's off base, why the law is not on his side, and in the process of that, educating about what you really have done and what the Dabbleverse really is, explaining how the New York law, publicity law, does not apply to what you're doing, and at the same time also laying out to him that, listen, if you continue down this path, we are if you file a lawsuit, we will certainly answer it, we will certainly defend it, and we will also bring a counterclaim under under New York's anti-slap statute for frivolous lawsuit, and you and your client will face some exposure there. And
Can I
part of
also
the
ask him
reason
why he threw himself a going away party before he went to prison. Can I ask him about that in this, or is that neither here nor there?
That's interesting too. You know, I also find it funny that you commented on the photos of him and how he looks and all that. I was just surprised that he was driving a GMC at the time everything happened, but. Yeah.
I have a question about
one more thing. I just want to say, I think it's very important that in your response you tell him of your intent to pursue an anti-slap statute suit, so that if they do file a lawsuit and you do have to go that route and you do prevail, you can then say to the court, "Hey, judge, look, we told him from the outset before he did any of this that this was going to happen, and he had warning and notice, and he failed to take the proper action, and that will reflect better on him and look better on you guys."
Karl, you had another question?
Yeah, I had another question. So it says, if you fail to comply by the deadline, our client will likely initiate litigation. Now, I hear what you were saying before about using the word likely because you can obviously slither out of it. But for this, wouldn't they want to scare us a little bit more and like we'll be forced to bring litigation or something like that? It's not like we're going to call them out when they don't.
I agree with you. And if that word likely wasn't there, these type of demand letters, it's not considered blackmail to say, oh, then we will take all legal remedies, whatever. That's allowed under the law.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he put it. It's just a matter of how he drafted. I'll tell you this, and this is something that's very, very important. It's something everybody involved in lawsuits needs to consider, because people just think it rains money from everywhere, and it doesn't. That's why most of the cases that you see go to court for actions, things like that, all involve insurance, because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't get blood from a stone, which I guess is why Frog's not named in this lawsuit.
Hello.
So, yeah. In any event, this guy Tabber is being. This is my assumption. Everything I've said is my opinion and my assumptions. I don't know facts or anything with them, but I would assume he's being paid, or there's an agreement between him and John, one or two ways. Number one is that John paid him a flat fee or X amount of dollars per hour to draft this letter. And if he's going to continue to pursue this matter on John's behalf and be paid hourly, John is going to have to drop 10 or 20 grand up front easily.
Right.
Now, I don't think that's happening. I think what it is it's a contingency fee basis, meaning just like you see in most personal injury cases, or we see guys advertise on television, we don't get paid unless you get paid. Yeah. That may very well be what it is, and that Tabber's got an agreement with John that, if we resolve this without a lawsuit, I'll get a third. So that means $200,000 for me.
So if you were to draft a letter like this, what would you charge a client approximately?
I got to tell you, I wouldn't. If a client came to me and said, I want you to do this, I'd look at the facts and say no, because all you're going to do is end up paying me money, and it's not going to put you in a better position. And that's not the right thing to do.
I'm glad you said that, because that's something that's interesting. I'm known for this saying that I have, and it is June, so I'll say it. Just do it. I don't understand why this letter has to come. And I got a cease and desist from this idiot a couple of years ago. Like, this does nothing. All it does is give us fodder. And we pick it apart. We talk about it with attorneys and things like that. Like, if they're going to sue us, why would they just sue us?
You can't always. Karl, you're a pretty rational person. And I tell clients this all the time. A rational person can't assume that an irrational person is going to think rationally. Right. And that's the way to look at it. And also the same thing with a greedy person. These guys both want money. So that's what their goal is.
Last question for me. How do you think a judge would evaluate the $600,000 demand?
It wouldn't be a judge. It would be a jury. It would be a jury that gets it, assuming they pled a jury trial. And I wouldn't imagine, I can't imagine why they wouldn't. But it's a jury that would have to consider the damages. And quite frankly, I don't think anybody defending you guys would basically whittle things down. It would be a process. You have to go, well, look, no, you can't sue him for Dabble House. You can't sue them for the Uncle Rico show. You can't sue them for the Uncle WATP commentary. Okay, what you have is this one post somewhere where you have John's face saying, come to this web show or whatever it is. That would be the only thing. You would knock all that stuff out during the litigation process. What I tell people all the time is litigation is like a train, and filing the lawsuit's the engine, and the caboose would be a trial. And there can be a different number of cars in between the two. And sometimes a lawsuit can end or jump off or finish anywhere along those things. It's not as black and white as this is all going to come into a jury. It's not. There's something that's called a motion in limine, which means we would keep out all the stuff that is not relevant to this specific claim and limited claim. And that's the key word, limited claim for a right of publicity.
So I have a thought on this. I'm interested if you think this is a possibility. Because it is a New York State right to publicity law, just like the Sirius XM, he was going with, that was a California statute, but he was going for the right to publicity. And like you've pointed out, you have to pretend that he's endorsing our product, or show an advertisement where it seems like he's endorsing it or is a part of it when he's actually not. That's what the law is. Do you want to
or not just a right of trade, but also like, do you remember what happened in Back to the Future 3, where Crispin Glover was no longer in it, and they basically took his voice and used it to create a virtual sort of Crispin Glover.
Right.
But none of that's been done here. None of it.
So is it possible that another attorney who maybe talks to John from time to time set him up with this guy, knowing that this was going to be a huge joke and a failure for John, and that this attorney's, unaware of that, and he's just working in good faith, getting, he got a referral from a guy who is an attorney and just thinks that he can probably help this guy out, and that the joke is actually on both John and Tabber?
I have no idea. That's beyond the legal purview that I am qualified to speak about. I'll say this: if John did not have ties to live in, have family in the New York area where Tabber Benedict practices, I'd say, well, it might be more likely that what you're talking about happened. If John lived his whole life in Nebraska and then all of a sudden gets hooked up with this guy Tabber, well, maybe that's the case. But who knows? He could have gone to high school with somebody who knows this guy, or anything like that. So anything like that is just speculation. And quite frankly, it's not worth your time or anybody's time thinking about it. We just got to deal with getting this potential monkey off the back of the Shuli Network. And WATP.
Wild speculation is a big part of the shows around here. I'll have you know, attorneys. So.
Sure. Not his job. Listen, Counselor, thank you very much for your time and your knowledge in this. We really appreciate it. And, I guess we'll be talking again soon. We'll see you after the 12th,
All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. It's just nice to be a part of this, and keep on dabbling.
Thanks, you, buddy. Sir. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
I'll be in touch.
It's our Law Tube segment of Point DabblePoint. All right.
Very exciting stuff.
Listen, I like how people are like, this is boring. Your ass isn't on the line. You're not on the hook for $600,000. Shut the fuck up and let me figure this shit out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bringing up a lawyer with a wrestling mask on isn't fucking exciting.
What do you want the guy to do? It's insane how many lawyers are attached to the Dabbleverse. Yeah. How much to ditch this and gadoosh this jabroni? $2.
More than
you paid him. He's a good dude, that attorney. We've known him for a minute. Best non-makeup Kiss album. I say Asylum. What say you, Barrister Luchador? I didn't see this. I would have asked him. Calling Schechter shitty is blasphemous. Custom. Okay. Wrong chat. Sorry, I prefer a lawyer with a Star of David mask. That's all of them.
That's a good point.
That's all of them.
No, there was a cross on that mask.
Dominic sounded really young, FSJ. Opie is John with money. Interesting. Rey Mysterio for the defense, Your Honor. Thank you. Rob Johnson with $2.99 super sticker. Some Joey C people chiming in. Joey C, no man left behind. I don't know if that's accurate. Frankie gifting 5 memberships. Thank you, Frank. Hit like while you're here. We're coming up on 1,300 people. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit notify, and get yourself a membership, tier 1 or tier 2. We got some blunder happening. We got a new show tonight I'll be doing called the Wack Pack Wrangler is happening tonight, where I'm going to be debuting stuff that people have never seen that I've captured throughout my years with Wack Packers, and go over stuff with you guys, answer your questions, and talk Wack Pack for a little bit tonight. Walking the bride down the dirt driveway made me tear up. Joey C doesn't strike me as living in Lake Tahoe type of guy. Well, money changes people. Joey C and Lenny are the worst first aiders. Oh yeah, our guy Lenny. Some guy was choking, and he made people back away from the guy.
Give him his space.
Yeah,
Give him some
die. Let him die comfortably. He's still got it, waiting for vaccine. Diablo sandwich. Joey, a good friend of mine, is marrying a Hell's Angel at the municipal dump. Municipal dump. Is Wrigley Wednesday about bubblegum?
Wrigley Wednesday.
Welcome to the field of broken dreams and necks with your host, Joey C. Whatever happened to Joey C. $3 million lawsuit, buddy? Well, I think he's invested in equipment. You heard he's got a lot of stuff coming. I need a lighter. Joey C. for life. Thank you, Edge Lord. Good to see you. 24 months. Thank you.
I like how Joey's got a new microphone, and then he gets into it like this and starts talking to it. Like, come on, buddy.
My investigation concluded that Joey still hasn't gotten the money back.
My favorite part, Anthony, is that Joey's like framed up like this. And someone's like, why aren't you framed up better? He's just like, I'm getting a new camera.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't need a new camera to get
It's
yourself
the beginning of
frame
Star
correct.
Wars. You start like this and you come back down.
Everything out of frame will be much clearer and crisper. I heard Joey C. was in the Epstein files. Mobster Mondays, Wrigley Wednesdays, and FEMA Fraud Fridays. Can't wait for the new format. I bet SJ is so jealous of Joey going viral over him. Oh, maybe he'll reach out to him and try to friend up again now that Joey's got the hits. Met Joey at DabbleCon. He was awesome. Don't listen to the crap, Joey. Joey, don't mention Zen's comedy special. Shuli may strike you and affect your income, a form of violence, accordingly to his BFF Karl.
Right. Nobody watch it, please.
Yes. Thank you. Joey, what was that talentless Chad's $1 million show idea? Shuli, get super tips. Makes me sick giving YouTube any more of my money. Karl gets it. We're working on our own thing. It's called Super Grift, and it'll be out soon. I got the Obster classic. Oh yeah, that was your joke. Shocker, KFT. Yes, we got that one. Wes Little, my wife just told me my wiener smells like a chicken house. Any of you fellas ever had that problem? Cock meat sandwiches. No. That was an effing great segment. F the haters. Thank you, Gaboo. 20 months. All right. So we got little Steel Toe Casino.
I want to do that.
Okay.
I'm excited for that. I like that.
Alien.
Resist the twitch.
Boy, it looks like I got to move on to some new dick, huh?
Sorry. Good stuff,
Well done.
boys.
Well done, boys.
Good stuff. All right. Here we go. Here's how it works. Over under. Is it number 22 as usual?
Yeah, but I think he's onto something, so we might wind up changing it up.
Okay.
What day is this from? What show?
Today, that's how we play the game.
This
bro.
morning's show. Okay, good. Well, because I need to
right.
know if it's an evening show or a morning show. That's obviously a big difference in this.
And length of show. How long was he on for?
Damn near 5 hours. I was working on this right up to the end because that bastard went 5 hours.
Yeah, he's doing 5 now.
That's not
Melton
a good
always
sign.
says, man, you stop giving him money, all you'll get is more show. That's all you'll ever get. You can't get offline until you give him money.
We've been saying that about John for years. I mean, look at when they shut down Shuli's Anonymous on him for 20 minutes. Anybody remember that content? I mean,
was the best.
Yeah, if you took away Super Chats or Reddit from John, he would lose his fucking mind. So it's absolutely correct. All right, let's get this party started.
So the game is over under how many times he uses that phrase and whether or not he hits the goal, right?
Correct.
And what number he runs out of steam, but call it when you see it.
Right. So during the course of the game, if we're on number 6 and you think number 7, he's going to be flat, you call it before we get to 7. You go, this one's next, or 8 or 9 or whatever. But at some point, the mood and the energy changes. There's a shift.
A breaking point.
Yeah.
So the number's 22?
Number's 22.
5 hours. I got to go over.
I think you have to.
That's a long time to be on there.
I think you have to. But Frog did say he thinks he's watching or he's on to something. So I'm going to go under.
Okay.
Now, as far as hitting the goal, well, Zen, what are you picking, over or under?
22, 5 hours. I'm going to say under. I'm going to say, I got faith in this guy. Maybe he learned his lesson. Maybe he understands that you don't have to say it every 5 minutes.
Okay.
Sure.
He was on for 5 hours, so he said it a lot.
I'm going to say he did not hit the goal today because Mondays he really struggles with Mondays hitting the goal.
Okay. Monday, no goal. Zenny, goal or no goal?
He hits the goal. 5 hours in, he brings it home. 5 hours.
I'm going to say no, because 5 hours is not a good sign. You know what I mean? If he hit his goal in 2 hours, he'd be gone in 2.5 hours.
Correct.
So I'm going to say no goal.
Quick question for Frog. So I know that he's part of the Rumble creator program and he's starting to make some money off that. And he mentioned last week he's going to lower the goals because of all the money that's pouring in from Rumble. What was the goal number today?
I think he started off with the normal amount. I think he might even say it in the first clip that it's at like 260 to the goal. I think is the first clip you hear him say something like that.
Because it used to be 350. It was the morning goal every morning.
Oh, so maybe he is counting like $100 from the Rumble Creator Studio then, because I think that's the first number I remember hearing.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to stick with what I said, but he probably will hit at that.
Well, if you guys remember from the last show he did, he was threatening to just do Rumble. He was going to leave the YouTube scene
based on the amount of riches that came in from the creator.
Sorry, guys, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to have to leave this whole YouTube thing.
And Frog brought up a good point. He does one Rumble show a week. Right. And he's like, it's amazing. The money's amazing.
And another thing, Karl, have you ever noticed that when he does his members only streams on YouTube, that he's also streaming that same show for free on Rumble at the exact same time?
I didn't know that. What an idiot.
It was 270 today was the goal.
270, that's way lower than it usually is. Okay.
All right.
I'm still going with he didn't hit it. He didn't hit it.
Karl, try putting the money you make back into your show, pal. Maybe that might help.
Yeah.
All right.
Throw us a couple of bucks. Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants, gifted memberships, and all that.
Johnny Crutches decided to choke on a pen cap to get out of this fucking show today.
Thank you very much. 215 away from today's goal. Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants, and all that stuff. We'll keep the show going for you.
Johnny looks like he's actively dying.
Yes. For 5 hours today, he was dying on the air.
I mean, physically and spiritually. He is dying a slow death.
And we'll call her a win for the toe. What do you say?
Oh, I'm going to say number 4. I'm going to say 4.
You're calling
he's slowing down already.
This Monday energy is not good.
Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants. Couple of great segments back to back. I think we've earned your generous contributions. So go ahead and throw in. Keep going, and we'll stay on schedule. That's how that shit works. Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants.
He's in an ornery mood today.
Yeah,
Dude,
that was a pretty
this might be the best show we've ever done. I mean, if that was number 4, let's see what number 10 looks like.
I like gifted memberships. Those are fun. Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants. I love gifted memberships on YouTube and on Rumble. We're still right on track. We appreciate your guys' generosity. 165 is today's number. Let's get on PayPal, Streamlabs, Venmo, Super Chats, and Rumble Rants.
The old self-inventory grab.
I mean,
Like, what am I doing with my life?
You want to adopt Johnny like a puppy.
You
Like
do.
something you saw in the kennel. You just want to make sure he doesn't get euthanized.
Can I tell you what show would take off in the Dabbleverse more than whatever Joey C is planning with his AI producer?
I know what it is. Johnny Crutches falls down and Joey doesn't help him get back up. That's the show.
Well, that's just a viral moment. But no,
Oh,
the show has to be Johnny Crutches with April. If those two guys did a show together, I kid you not, it would quadruple the money that Aaron makes any given morning.
I love that.
Yeah, I'd watch. I ain't gonna lie.
Get that all knocked out. Keep throwing in money. Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants. Do us a favor.
God, this begging is slowly killing this man.
And see if you can't help us out a little. Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants. Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, and Rumble Rants. If you don't want to hear that shit every 3 minutes for the next hour, go ahead and
Now it's our fault.
Yeah. Oh, that's
I
my
love that. I'm
favorite.
blaming the audience.
I'll turn this show around and go right back home. Aaron is my favorite.
We gotta have one where he melts down. Do we ever have that in the bag? Like he just fucking loses his shit.
I saw So Thorough Joe Burrow has a video. I haven't watched it yet, but the word meltdown is literally in the title, and we got to watch that. But I like how he was so mellow. And it's like that scene in Blazing Saddles where the woman's reading, and they all go louder, and she goes, "Governor Pennsylvania," and she just starts screaming.
throw in Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble
big drop.
Rants. We do have, like I said, 145 away from today. Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants, etc. 125 away.
Here we go.
From today's goal, and definitely
I'm taking 13.
within striking distance. Hammer it out. Call it another win for the toe. Again, 125 away. Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants. We are $120 away from today's goal. Let's see if we can't knock it out. Get a win for the toe. Some Streamlabs, some PayPal, some Venmo, some Super Chats, some Rumble Rants. Let's see if we can't.
Go back. Hold on. You're right, Carl. Go back a little bit. Was that to Johnny?
It seemed like
Yeah, because he interrupted the Streamlabs rant.
Oh, you don't do that, man. You don't tug on Superman's cape, and you don't do that.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can't. Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants, gifted memberships. I love those gifted memberships. 15 minutes left in the show.
Did I not go back
and
far enough?
$90 away from today's goal. What do
Yeah,
you
I don't
say?
think he went back at all, but it's okay.
Sorry. Hold on. No, I want to see him snap it, Johnny. I need to see that.
Streamlabs, some PayPal, some Venmo, some Super Chats.
Can it, you retard? I'm doing the thing.
That is disdain right there.
Some Streamlabs, some
That's a perfect thumbnail.
I mean,
I'm clicking on that video.
The beginning of the end right here.
I mean, in
PayPal.
all fairness, right? Like,
Yeah.
I get it that Aaron has to do some self-inventory on what he's doing with his show, but Johnny Crutch is miserable.
Yeah.
Every day he's on this show, and as a guy who's running a show, I'd be like, Johnny, can you fucking smile
Yeah.
a little bit? Maybe throw a little effort into this.
some Venmo, some Super Chats, some Rumble Rants. Let's see if we can't Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants, gifted memberships. I love those gifted memberships. 15 minutes left in the show and $90 away from today's goal. What do you say? Be part of a $100 rally and let's do this thing. Streamlabs, PayPal.
What do you get for it? To shut my fucking mouth.
Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants. $90 away from today's goal. Let's hit Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, and Rumble Rants. Again, about 15 minutes left That would be so awesome. Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants. Oh, guys, thank you so much. I played that Lizzo thing to punish you guys for missing the goal. And then while I was playing the Lizzo thing, you guys hit the goal.
Oh.
So I had to go an extra 15 minutes because of that. I'm a man of my word. Johnny, you have a show at 1 o'clock today?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Now, according to him, he hit the goal, or were you tracking it, Joe? Was there a
According
mysterious?
to him, he hit the goal.
So there was no record of it as far as super chats go that were up on screen.
Well, he doesn't put all the chats up on the screen anyway, so it's hard to tell anyhow.
It's also interesting that he was playing content that his audience would hate to punish them. And that's when the money came in, because Aaron always connects doing a good show with getting paid immediately from the viewers.
Yes.
So
that's
why would all of a sudden now he's doing something that sucks, staying on for an extra half hour or whatever it was, and that's what brought the money in? Why?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things with Aaron is he's like, they're missing the goal, and he's going, I guess the show was shit today.
Yeah, we put on the best show that you'll ever see or hear, but I guess you guys didn't realize that because
it was a mystery $80. Wow, was it really?
I guess people don't understand how good they have it here on the Steel Toe Morning Show.
Did you guys see that he brought back VIP memberships?
Yeah, so what are VIPs getting?
You got to hear this. This is like another parallel to Stuttering John. So he says, if you give us $200 in 1 week, $200 throughout the week combined, you'll be a VIP member, which gets you tickets to any future shows that he's doing. So he's got the 11-year anniversary coming up at Stoney's there, and they have a golf tournament and stuff. So if you give $200 in 1 week, you get tickets forever for anything they're doing live. You also get merchandise 4 times a year. And that goes on forever as well. So there's 4 merch drops that you'll be a part of. 3 of them are like merch from the prize closet, like old stuff that they never got rid of. But one of them is a brand new piece of merchandise just for you.
It's like Aaron's doing cocaine again.
Well, when he was doing this with April, people would complain they weren't getting their things. He'd always blame April. Like, yeah, April's not going to the, she's not sending this stuff out. She's not going to UPS or whatever. But he puts these burdens on himself that makes his life so much more difficult. You can tell he's miserable.
Rakes. He's laying out rakes.
He's like laying out his own rakes. Like,
yeah.
Why do you think $200 is worthy of merchandise and free live show tickets for life?
I mean, merch was the beginning of the end of that relationship.
Yes.
And so now Slam Piece is going to be licking envelopes and sending shit out.
Good point. Good point.
Julie, there's just a second or two left on that video.
Oh, yeah.
Show again at 6 p.m. Central.
Okay, under. He hit the goal. Number 10.
Hey, good morning, everybody. And oh my God, he's got the metal thing behind him. I wasn't ready for that today. Oh, boy.
This is what I like. Frog does drop the needle and just fills in the audio with screenshots.
I was expecting, I've come to appreciate your other background, which I call, and this will be a deep cut for everybody who was an N64 guy back in the day. Drake Lake. Drake Lake. Call it. What's the reference?
I don't know.
Wave Race 64.
Why wouldn't you just give him a heads up before the show starts that this is what you're going to bring up, or fucking don't ask him? That's such a random fucking thing. The odds.
The
of him
answer
knowing
is
that.
Crash Bandicoot, you dummy.
Annoying.
Wait, you never
Wave
played
Race 64. Yeah, I didn't do Wave Race.
Oh man, you weren't gay, bro.
Everything's gay with him too.
Well, that's big on terrestrial radio where he's returning.
Yeah.
Everything's gay these days. So why wear the mask? We all know it's Michael Bopak. It's a good point. We didn't want to dox him. Has Karl seen the huge difference in Johnny from Toe's show to his later show in the day?
Yeah. I love that. The energy that he has when he's doing his own show is a completely different guy. It's great.
Sunglasses,
Breaking news. Beep, 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 beep. Breaking news.
What do you got?
I'm hearing that Chad Zumach's monetization may be back on.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
Well, so what's going on? Is he off Super Tips now? Is he still on? I mean, every day it's like another story, another layer. I don't know what's going on. I saw a video of him on Brennan's show. Somebody asked him, you have Brennan's voice on your Super Tip. And he goes, do I? He's like, I don't even know. Do I? And then it just kept going back and forth to all these Super Tips that were coming in using Kevin's voice on his show and him smiling and then cutting back to him on MLC going, do I? Do I really have his? I don't recall that. So do you have a quick update on all this? Do you know what's going on, Karl?
Well, so Chad tried to save face. He works with Patrick Melton, who's the enemy, and Super Tip is this horrible system. They steal all your data, and it's the worst thing, and I would never use it. Then he gets it. Melton spends like an hour and a half with him, remoting into his computer to get him set up on it because Chad doesn't know how to do anything, and he won't read a manual or anything like that. So Patrick went out of his way to get him set up. Chad made a shit ton of money. The first show back, the second show back, like he was going on multiple times a day because money was just raking in from Super Tip. But then he had to save face with Daddy Brennan. And so he started motherfucking Patrick again. And so Patrick's just like, listen, man, it's fine. You can talk all the shit you want, but I put in my own personal time to help you out. When you have a problem in the future and you can't solve it, I won't help you. I'm done. It's like you've immediately just talked all this shit about me after everything I did for you and saving you in your time of need. So, Chad is just constantly self-sabotaging. He can't get out of his own way. He thought he was going to rebrand his show Cumia's Cucks because he wants to rebrand himself, like just going after people all the time is not really working out for him. So what does he do? He rebrands his show to Z-Man versus the World.
Oh, all right.
Which is exactly the same format as Cumia's Cucks. The people I don't like, I'm going to talk shit about. Well, that's what you do now.
But when one guy's fighting the world, you tend to root for that guy, don't you? Rather than one guy against Chrissy Mayer, let's say.
The funniest part about it is that he admitted he got the show name from Jim Florentine. Jim Florentine was just on WATP, and we reviewed Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. So literally Jim Florentine gave Chad Tom Myers' idea for his show title. Chad went, that's pretty good. Let's do it.
Chad, what have you thought of the Chad Zumach experience? That might be a good name.
Right. He's probably just fucking with him.
Why give him anything? It makes no sense. Who, Steel Toe? Yeah, I don't know.
It's weird.
There's people that say the same thing about Dave Daffler when he sends us $5. I'd pay to watch a Joey C. and Lenny volunteer first responder service, or them just teaching a course on what to do in case an emergency.
Let them bleed out. It's going to take some time, but let it happen.
What you do is you grab the gurney, then you put the guy around the gurney, and you keep the gurney empty, and then you bring it back to the ambulance.
First thing, check the wallet. Get that out of there. So here's your choices. We can go over some clips you have of Stuttering John on this new podcast, or we can watch the meltdown that so thorough Joe Burrow has of Steel Toe. You make the call there, Carly.
I have a bit of a package here. Is that a short video we can watch?
I don't know. How long is it, Frog?
It's quite long. It's
45
minutes.
12 minutes? Okay. Let's do Karl's clips. Yeah, let's do some John stuff.
All right. I'm going to share my screen here. Now, of course, John was just at the very exciting Tampa Sports Expo. And I'm sure you guys have seen the website here. It lists on the homepage all of these exciting athletes you'll be able to get autographs from. John Gruden's going to be there. Jose Canseco. Phil Esposito. I mean, what a list, huh? And then also confirmed Stuttering John. No image, just in a list on here with everyone else. Now, what I found interesting about this is that they have Friday guests, Saturday guests, Sunday guests. So I clicked. I'm like, well, when was John there, I wonder? So I click on Friday guests. And you have these athletes.
Okay.
And then you also have Michael Papajohn and Stuttering John Melendez. So Friday's not a busy day.
Right.
There's just two Buccaneers and these two guys. The other thing that's interesting here is that the prices are all listed under the athletes, but for Michael Papajohn and Stuttering John, it just says autographs photos will be available for purchase directly.
Yeah. I think a lot of that has to do is they're at a sports convention and they're not fucking athletes. So people aren't bringing a Tonight Show jersey to have signed by Stuttering John.
Right. Yes. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then I click on Saturday. Better lineup on Saturday. You got a whole bunch of athletes and
Gruden.
people that, you would know if you were a Tampa fan, but other athletes as well. Huge list. And then, right there at the bottom,
Hey.
Michael Papajohn and Stuttering John Melendez. And then on Sunday, you won't believe it, the only two guys who are there all 3 days are Michael
wow.
Papajohn and Stuttering John Melendez.
No wonder those two hit it off.
Yes.
Even
So
the kid that nobody cared about from the Sandlot was only there for one day.
Right. Every
Yeah.
other person is there for just the one day, or I'll sign some autographs and then I'll be on my way. But these two guys have nothing else going on.
And how many people thought they were meeting the guy who owns Papa John's instead
I
of this guy?
know, right?
Right. Yeah. Hey, will you say the N-word on a video with me? You're not that guy.
Believe me, he'll still say it. It's
Right.
just,
So John goes on this show hosted by Peter Blake. And the first question is asked is, him being at this sports expo. And I don't know why John brings this up.
I'm sitting right next to Michael Papajohn.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, from the Water Boy, The Longest Yard.
Yes.
And, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But, he's a really cool guy. Kind of looks like De Niro.
He's been in a lot of movies.
Yes.
It's crazy, and I didn't realize it because I was doing research on it, because this is what you do when you're in the radio business. I felt like this is a radio show. It's a TV show.
Yeah.
Inspiration is from you, my friend. Inspiration is from Howard Stern. If you're a radio guy, you got to watch Private Parts. My thing is, I don't know why you didn't have more time in Private Parts.
Okay. So I don't know why John opens up with talking about Michael Papajohn. He had no story. He just goes, it kind of looks like De Niro, huh? Like, well, we all know we've seen him in tons of movies.
I don't think this guy asked a question in the first 10, 15 minutes of this interview. It was just John jumping from one story to another with no rhyme or reason. Nothing.
I get coming on a show prepared with an anecdote about what you're doing that weekend or whatever, but it has to be a story that's interesting.
Right.
He's
right.
next to this guy. He's cool.
Yeah. Oh, I was walking around Tampa. This happened. This is crazy. Has this ever happened to you? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I saw Joey C. wasn't even helping this guy who had his neck broken. It was crazy.
Yeah.
This city's nuts. So he's, and I also don't know why Michael Papajohn is there. He tries to connect two sports movies, I guess. Right there.
The Water Boy.
Waterboy's barely a sports movie.
I mean, it's certainly not a classic sports movie in that genre,
Oh, you like football? We got to watch Waterboy. Never been said.
Right.
And then this guy, Peter, who's all over the place at the beginning of this interview, I don't know what he's thinking. But
for most of the interview, he was in hell. You could see that on his face.
He's working hard. He works real hard. But so at the beginning of this, he goes, I don't know why you weren't more in Howard Stern's movie. You don't? Have you seen Howard Stern's movie? It takes place from Howard being a kid to Howard making a big splash in radio long before he met Stuttering John Melendez. Hence the reason why John wasn't in the movie. He wasn't part of that story.
Right. The fact that he even let him on at the credits, like he could have given him a part as a pizza delivery guy. And then this guy would be sitting here going, why did he only let you deliver a pizza in the movie?
Right. I mean, they did find a role for Gary in that movie because Gary's a professional and could do that.
That's right. They could depend on Gary.
Yes.
That's the other thing. Yeah.
Right. So this is John's response to that.
Well, that's what I complain about at the end.
I know. And I don't understand it because you're a big part of what Howard Stern did. But doing the research there, he was Papa John, the guard on The Longest Yard.
This guy, I'm telling you, all over the place. Like, I know, that's what I mean. Like, you're such a big part of the Howard Stern show. So you're talking to Michael Papajohn. He played a guard in that one movie. Like,
and so painful for John because he was literally falling in love with this guy when he said, you don't get credit for being there and being a part of it. And then right away he changes lanes on the Papa John. And John's just heartbroken now.
Well, and they go on for a while talking about the movies that he's been in. They just start listing movies. It's a sports talk show at a sports expo, and they're talking about a character actor who's been in a bunch of movies that we might remember him from, kind of.
Well, I think the guy was a little shell-shocked, too, because the first question was like, tell us about your podcast. He's like, I'm done. I'm done doing it. The trolls,
Yep.
you know.
So that's the first question that comes up, and this is Sean's response.
Yes, and he was in for the love of the game.
Yes, he was. Kevin Costner's nemesis.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Well, talk about you. Talk about what you're doing. You're doing a great podcast right now. How is that going?
I finally decided to stop streaming. It just got too toxic, you know.
What a
Really?
plug.
Yes, and you know, anonymous armchair warriors in their mom's basement who try and call my gigs to get them canceled, and like even here they tried to, you know, some idiot emails try to get me canceled.
Why?
It's like, it's just this is the society that we live in.
So that's very telling. So Peter's doing a show. No one tried to get Peter's show canceled.
Well,
Jay,
maybe
why
that
are people
society hasn't reached Peter yet.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just like, well, I mean, that's how it is. Like, people just try to get people's shows canceled. John doesn't bring up that, like, well, I threaten people with violence all the time. I go after them. I try to dox them. I wanted to get this fine doctor in Tennessee and get his livelihood taken away because he wore a T-shirt on stage once. Like, he doesn't talk about any of these things.
Right, like when you're saying how toxic this world is, after each example of how toxic it is, you should say, which I did as well.
Right, which I did tenfold back to them. But so I like that he wants to have it both ways. He goes, they're anonymous, they're in their mom's basement, they're keyboard warriors. But then he says this.
Armchair
These people
warriors.
just hide behind an anonymous, and they come by my house and put things on my door and pour garbage on my lawn. It's like, it's just call my mother at 2:30 in the morning on Christmas morning.
I said
so it
this-
I just said, you know what? I don't need the money that bad, so I'm just gonna take. I'll just go back to doing stand.
I'm sorry.
Please.
I know he's going on his thing, but I said this before that John never has a co-host. He never has somebody that he does a show with. It's always like, it could be like the volleyball Wilson sitting next to him.
Yep.
Right.
And he needs somebody to just tell his sad story to. It's just a gripe. So no matter who it is, whether it's Quadfather, it's the fat guy from Long Island, Gravestone, him, this is where it goes. It goes, all of a sudden he's talking about potatoes.
Yeah, well, he has nothing else to
oranges,
talk about. He has nothing else to offer or bring to the table. This is his entire life. He doesn't go out and do things. He doesn't have stories. Even when he doesn't come back with stories. He doesn't turn it into material. Nothing.
It is shocking how little he talks about his time on The Tonight Show. It's crazy that he doesn't have way more stories about meeting A-list celebrities on a daily basis.
I'm telling you, they shuffled that motherfucker around back there to keep him out of everybody's goddamn way. Yep. They gave him jobs that were idiot-proof, that were probably tweaked and fixed after it left his hands and into somebody's hands that was competent and knew the fucking job.
People are saying, "Where's the retard?" Oh, he's over there in the fourth row. He'll be back here in a few minutes. Just give him something to do.
You know what else he doesn't have stories about? College.
Yeah, there's no college stories and no Tonight Show stories. It's funny how that works. But so, this guy, he's doing the best he can. This is a weird way to start off an interview. He's talking about, I had to quit podcasting because there's people hiding in their mom's basement, but then they're also coming to his house and putting garbage in his lawn and leaving notes. Like right there, I'd be like, whoa. I thought they were just like online messing with you, but now you're saying they're coming to your house. And no, that's specifically Chad Zumock and Joey C.
Well, but also knowing his
not
lifestyle,
anonymous trolls.
But knowing his lifestyle and how he lives and how he takes care of himself, it's very, very possible that he put trash on his lawn and just doesn't fucking remember it. I mean, he does clean his cat litter on the lawn.
It was a Coors Light 12-pack empty. Of course it was John's.
Right, and it wasn't an entire trash can dumped over. It was one. It could have easily gotten blown out by the wind or something,
For sure.
So
let me just finish this.
Yeah,
because it's pretty funny where it goes from here.
2:30 in the morning on Christmas morning, and so I just said, you know what? I don't need the money that bad, so I'm just gonna take. I'll just go back to doing stand up, which is essentially what I'm doing. This is only my second convention.
Really?
And that's a weird thing too. So the two conventions John has done so far are ChillerCon and the Tampa Sports Expo. One is for stars of horror movies, and the other is for athletes. Like, why was he involved in either of these?
Both of them, he had to identify himself by the shirt he had to show that he belonged based on the shirt he was wearing. Chiller, he had Jay Leno shirt.
Yep.
Here, he has the pro football arm wrestling shirt on.
Yeah, who could forget that? What an event that was.
How about everybody that came to the Sports Expo? That's who forgot about it.
I think he was with ChillerCon because his life is an actual horror story.
That part is accurate,
right.
yes.
So later on, Peter asks again about, you should just keep streaming. Who cares what they say on social media? You can keep it going.
And I get criticism too. And then you have fans that are just crazy. It's social media. Like, I love social media, and I know what you mean by doing a pot. Keep on streaming, man. You got plenty of stories to tell.
Oh yeah, I know. And I was making like over $100,000 a year doing it, but I just decided to say, you know what, this is just not worth it.
Yeah.
Just the harassment and the constant, just like attacking family and just like taking it way too far, and it just really got way too far. Sending people to my gigs with a microphone hidden as a flower.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so they could tape me.
Nuts.
To have a conversation. I mean, it's really like, it's juvenile.
Mm-hmm.
It's seriously childlike.
Right.
I love that he finishes that with it's juvenile and childlike, when he started with, and I was making $100,000 doing that. Like, that's childish. That's when you have to brag about your income to this guy who's just like, all right, man, whatever. It's not what I asked at all. I just said you could continue your show.
Right.
Also, he's wrong. John doesn't have any stories. I literally could have predicted everything John said on this show. I know his stories better than he does at this point.
It's exactly what we were doing the other night. We were watching it. We were calling it before it happened.
It's so frustrating.
But there's also people who make $100,000 a year who got to put up with way worse than people teasing you and
right.
Sending you anonymous comments and whatever he thinks is bothersome for $100,000 a year, and he would never give that up if he was.
No, you know what I think it is, Zen? I think there's members of his family who gave him an ultimatum to get out of the Dabbleverse, get offline, and he's angry and bitter. That he's not making this money anymore. And so he has to constantly say, like, look at what I'm doing. I gave up $100,000 to stop doing this thing. So I sure hope you guys love me again. I sure hope I can be at your birthday this year and visit you at Harvard.
Yeah. And I also like when he goes, these people show up at my gigs to record it. Try showing up to somebody's job and trying to record them and interview them and have a discussion with them with a microphone. He cries about the shit that he's 100% guilty of, which is why he is so hateable to so many people that know him.
Also,
not you.
The $100,000 thing, I also want to point out that I think it was Clay Dabbler he was talking to, where he was looking at his back end and he was bragging about how much money he made in YouTube. But it was over a year's time.
Yes.
It was like almost 2 years' time that it finally got to 100,000. Because I remember him bragging about making $5,000 in 1 month. And everyone went, okay, but that's $60,000 a year. And then he bragged once about getting $8,000 in 1 month. And I believe he made $800,000 or $8,000 in 1 month, one time. Even that doesn't add up to six figures.
Just to go circle back to what you'd said, Clay was the one who told him how much he made.
That's right. Yeah.
That year. John didn't even know. So, yeah. And again, he's padding the stats. It was 90 grand, but while he's on the radio, it's over 100,000 now. Okay. Whatever you need, Johnny boy.
Well, you got to love John. He's always listing his credits, even if it makes no sense in the conversation. It is completely unnecessary.
Yeah, I did ChillerCon, which was a lot of fun. I got to hang out with a lot of people. Jim J. Bullock, who was in my movie that I sold to National Lampoon.
Okay.
He was in my movie that I sold to National Lampoon. Another thing John could have said is I got to hang out with Jim J. Bullock, who was in my movie, which completely flopped, even though I promoted it on The Tonight Show.
Or Jim J. Bullock, who was in my movie, One Too Many. It's available. Check it out. Boom.
Yeah, like a normal person would say.
Like a normal person, right? But no, just another victory. I sold it. I sold the movie. Everybody sells their movies, stupid.
Yeah. Or I hung out with Jim J. Bullock. He likes cock.
Yeah, whatever. A lot of people have
anecdote. Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people have that.
The other thing that John does is he constantly works in his material into these conversations, which is so pathetic. But you'd think that if you worked your material in, that it would be polished and funny. You know, if you're able to do that sort of thing.
He's the only guy I've ever seen who takes a shitty story, adds his bits, and makes it even shittier.
Yep. And makes it worse. And this guy, Peter, is working so hard on this.
And don't forget, I also left Howard to be the announcer
for the Jay Leno show.
Yes, on the Tonight Show. So they actually hired a stutterer to be their announcer. That's like entrusting Charlie Sheen with your Coke.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's not, though. It's not anything like trusting Charlie Sheen with your Coke.
Fun side note here. He never touched him again after he put his hand on his back. It must have been sopping wet.
Yeah.
And he was like, won't make that mistake again.
Yeah. So I find it fascinating that John has this joke, and he tells it all the time. We've heard it before. I'm not playing anything you guys haven't heard before, but it's just like this comparison of Charlie Sheen around Coke to him being a stutterer and being an announcer. It makes no sense. It's not funny, but he constantly says it over and over again. If you and I said something off the cuff today, and then we think about it, we're like, well, that didn't really make any sense. It happens. You can say some stupid shit.
Happens a lot to me.
Sure,
yeah.
Of course. But for this guy to be doing this is in his act. He says it on every show that he goes on. And I hope I get a chance to talk to John again. Because that's one of the first questions I'm going to ask is like, why do you think that makes sense? Why do you think that's funny?
Yeah. Having a round table with him and Tom Myers to discuss comedy that's like right up there when it was like Gervais, Seinfeld, Louis, and Chris Rock hanging out, talking shop.
It'd be amazing. Well, John loves the stage, as we know. We can't.
And the stage loves him right back, Karl.
We can't keep him off the stage, and he explains that.
I love being on stage, dude. I've been on stage since I was in the star of my first grade play, The Little Carrot Scene. So I mean, I've always been a ham. And you know what the funniest thing is? What's your name again?
My name is Peter Blake. I'm the Rolex reporter. How you doing?
Now, what Peter doesn't understand is that John was actually bragging. He's like, I started my first grade play. Now, we know that because we've heard all of this stuff. And John's not saying that as just like, I've been doing this forever kind of thing. He's literally bragging about his career. He brings up elementary school a few times in this interview. And, of course, John's unprepared. He doesn't know the host's name. He turns that into a running gag where he uses different names that will go nowhere.
Right.
And this is the start of the first finger on his temple, which I think this is the turning point for good old Mr. Rolex getting agitated at John for really just being oblivious to what's going on.
I don't know if John's doing this on purpose, but if his goal is to be so boring that he never says anything interesting ever again whenever he's a guest on a show, just so that we don't have anything to talk about, he's nailing it.
Yeah, if you're going to tell elementary school stories, it better be after the host just read an elementary school news story, something that would tie in.
Yeah, when I was in school. Yeah, right. Something would make a little bit more sense. Instead, he just goes right to that. And then another thing coming out of John's act that he always works into the conversation.
Asking OJ if he would sign my knife wasn't exactly.
Well, listen.
And coincidentally, he already had his own.
You and Dennis Miller.
See, that's another one. I want to ask him why he thinks that's funny. OJ already had his own.
I've never.
But what does that have to do with signing your knife?
I've never heard of a celebrity whose bio goes back to elementary school. Whose credits go back. The Young Carrot Seedling, starring John Melendez.
When the very first time I did a review of John's podcast back in 2018, I think it was 2018, I couldn't believe it. He was talking about how in second grade he was playing trumpet in the all-county orchestra. I mean, he went through so many different things, and I was like, what is this guy talking about? Why is he bragging about these things that are inconsequential when you're in show business? No one would go back that far.
He's giving you the stats of a trumpet prodigy, of
Right.
a child, no one has ever seen before playing trumpet. In second grade, I was all county. Get the fuck out of here.
All right, this next part has so much projection going on, and John's oblivious. He has no idea what he's actually saying here.
Putting him down, and what's so funny about this, Eddie, is that is that people like these comedians can never take themselves. They always take themselves too seriously.
Right.
It's really odd because sports people usually have a sense of humor. Actors usually do, but comedians never do, except for the late great Joan Rivers.
Yeah, we know where that's going. Jesus Christ. This is incredible to me. He's like, these comedians, they take themselves too seriously. John, the reason why you had to leave the Dabbleverse is because you took yourself too seriously and created this entire world because of that. The fact that he can have the balls to go out there and be like, these comedians, Jesus Christ, get a sense of humor, guys.
These guys take things so seriously, so they call my mom at night.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of the most pinnacle times in the Dabbleverse have been him being too thin-skinned. It started with Chrissy Mayer. It started it with Artie. It was even with that guy, the gravestone guy, when he called him a whack packer.
And Cumia with the parking, plenty of parking up front.
Yeah,
Joe.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just little jabs that John could not handle and had to lash out. Also, the fact that he says actors and athletes don't take themselves too seriously. Has he seen the Academy Awards? He talks about it. People take themselves very fucking seriously. It's ridiculous.
I was at the Isotopes concert on Sunday. Man, plenty of parking.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
There was a lot of other things happening in Rochester. We were competing with a lot of.
Well, the rain and all that. It's a crazy day.
So you just heard him call Peter Eddie.
Yes.
And the first 3 times he used a different name for him, he laughed. And this time it's just like, okay, it's going flat now. You can't just keep harping on it. So John he's not sure if he realizes that he's joking or not.
But and I listen. I've led a charmed life.
Right.
I mean, and I know it's Peter Blake, though.
I know. I got you. Stuttering John Melendez
I'm
here
only
of
kidding.
the Howard Stern Show.
Just to let you know, I not only am I a comedic dancer, I'm a comedic interviewer as well.
I just thought that was so funny because John thought he was just going to get a laugh every time he used a different name.
Right.
And finally the guy's like, yeah, no, we get it. And he's like,
Yeah.
By the way, I don't want you to think I'm stupid.
John's like hosting Candid Camera, but the camera's not hidden. It's been on a guy's shoulder the whole, and he goes, "There's a camera right there. I just want to let you know."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, we can see it, dude. We can see it."
Well, I hope Karl put the Dick Clark thing in here. I don't know if you put that one in, but
I
that
didn't
was
get that far.
Oh, the Ryan Seacrest
Ryan
rant that he had.
Well, it was but the people that he thought were dicks at the Tonight Show, and he brings up Dick Clark joke. That
I heard you guys talking about that last night. Yeah, it was just like with the focus on Dick. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, but that whole Ryan Seacrest, every Tonight Show story about who was the dick involved him roaming the halls and trying to talk to these people and them focusing on their appearance and not knowing who the fuck he is and not giving a shit.
Right.
Either one.
Well, okay. We are going to get into some trashing that John does, especially of Howard Stern. That's one of John's favorite things to do. But there's an interesting question that Peter has about stand-up in 2025. Like, do you have to adjust your act? Are there things that you really can't talk about anymore because they've become taboo or just societal norms have changed? And John addresses that.
I've taken out at least 20 minutes of my set.
Right.
Because of what, this has become. But I'll tell you something funny, Peter.
Sure. Tell me.
This is like, my 4th grade school teacher must have been clairvoyant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this was crazy. So John said he's taking 20% out of his act, which
20 minutes
or 20
minutes.
So I know he took out the stuff about his trans son. I know he doesn't still say Bruce Jenner is on a box of Fruit Loops.
Right.
Is there more to it?
The
than
rest,
that?
yeah, the rest are all N-word jokes from what I remember.
But Shuli, Zen, you guys might know this better than I do. When you're adjusting your set and you're like, well, this isn't working anymore, this is dated, or audiences don't react to this, don't you like add in an additional 20 minutes? Like you take 20 minutes out, you put 20 new minutes in at some point, or?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's like Raiders of the Lost Ark. You didn't just take the idol and didn't put a bag of sand there. Even though it didn't
Correct.
work, there was a switch that happened in case it did work. Yeah.
Well, usually after 15 years, you tend to write another hour of material or a couple of new jokes.
Yeah,
Him
stumble
taking-
upon something by mistake or something.
Yeah. Or he's like advertising his shows, like, guys, like 20 minutes lighter, these shows. Okay. You know, only getting 20-minute headlines.
He's headlining. He's doing 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I would love to know if that's true, which I doubt it is. I would love to know what he took out. Like if we could ever see the list of what he thinks is, because he's such a moron. I mean, take him out because they suck. Don't take him out because they're offensive. Write offensive, funny jokes.
Right.
People
Well,
do
maybe-
it all the time.
Maybe he's talking about the 15-minute videotape he used to play.
Oh, there
before
you
he
go.
goes
Yeah,
on
so you
stage.
got to take that out because
Right.
he doesn't have the rights
That's
to it.
never leaving.
So it's bizarre that he's talking about having to adjust things for stand-up, because John's the one who brought up that he's doing stand-up and he's loving
Right.
it. And so I thought that he wanted to talk about that. So this guy goes, okay, well, what's it like being a stand-up? What do you have to do? And then John, for some reason, pivots that directly to his 4th grade teacher.
Yep.
John likes to ask penetrating questions and stutters when he's excited, how she wrote that on his report card. And then they get right into a whole different conversation. Like, why did he segue that?
And I firmly believe that teacher wrote those comments because it was a problem, and he's turned it into a compliment.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah, she wasn't complimenting him, right?
Right. Your kid won't shut the fuck up, and he's asking stupid fucking questions. Personal
then-
questions, you know?
So then we get into some of the people on the Tonight Show, some of the guests that he has a problem with. Again, these are not questions that are being asked. This is just John volunteering this information.
But I will tell you, when Sacha Baron Cohen did the Tonight Show, I thought it was odd that he didn't come and just say, "Hey man, thanks," because I was before him. I was before Bob Smigel and Triumph the Insult Dog, who's essentially Stuttering John with a puppet, you know, in between two ferns. I mean, I was doing that stuff way before these guys.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just, you know, but hey, I guess imitation is the best form of flattery.
That's it.
So the amount of delusion to A, think any of that is true, and then B, say it out loud. It's not even part of the conversation. That's on his checklist. He's got this weird checklist of things that he has to say whenever he has appearances. And this is one of them, that he invented Triumph and Sacha Baron Cohen. Sacha Baron Cohen is British, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
He didn't grow up on Howard Stern. It has
No.
nothing to do, what he does has nothing to do with John.
Right.
Zach Galifianakis has nothing to do with the Howard Stern show. It's completely different.
I'll be honest, I'm a little upset with Dan Soder because he's never come up to me and said thank you for when he's doing stand-up comedy, because I was doing it a little bit before him.
Right.
By the way, that is fucked up.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucked up.
If anyone knows Dan, they can get that info to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of owes Zen an apology.
But the level of delusion to think Sacha Baron Cohen should even say hello to you
Right.
is crazy. But then on top of that, to say the guy never thanked me.
You'd think he'd at least come by and thank me. No, I wouldn't think that at all. It doesn't make any sense.
Right. Well, here's another thing that we brought up on the show when we covered this was that, you know, he did a lot of stuff on radio. A lot of people probably didn't know who he was or recognized him. Maybe they knew the name Stuttering John, but when they see him and they don't make that connection that this is a guy like Stuttering John, but why would they even give a shit? Again, it's like, who gives a shit that this is Stuttering John Melendez? Like, he can't put that together. Like, one, they should already know who I am. I'm that big. I'm that famous that these guys should know.
Also, it's well documented. And this is something that's been coming out more recently that I didn't even realize, that John wasn't even the first intern on the Howard Stern show to ask celebrities crazy questions.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
like
wasn't even the
people.
He's acting like he invented this thing. A, he didn't invent it, and he didn't write any of the jokes, and he wasn't even the first.
Well, here's a better question for you. If John never arrived, never came to the Stern show, would they have never done celebrity questions on the red carpet?
No, of course they were already doing it.
Exactly. Exactly. So his whole argument is it's just an insane person in a warehouse telling you that Sacha Baron Cohen should have said thank you to him.
So then Peter asks him, what was it like to work for Howard Stern? Now, I don't think that Peter is asking for a list of grievances.
No,
I
but
have
he's
a
not
feeling
Jay.
Just the opposite.
But Howard's not Jay, so he ain't going to get any compliments. That's for sure.
It's so weird how John's brain works. It's just like he's always focused on the negative. I don't think he even recognizes this in himself. It's just so natural for him to just start bitching about Howard.
But his greatest flaw is he gets extremely, what's the word I'm looking for? That, you know, where you own something, you know, like you think you
accountable.
No, you think you own everybody. Like,
Right.
Just because he gives
No, I
somebody-
don't know that word.
He gives me my start, but it never in his mind, you know, says like it gets to where it's equal. In other words, Lorne Michaels gives Adam Sandler the chance to be on SNL.
Sure.
But Adam Sandler runs away with it, right? And at some point, doesn't it even out? Like they're both helping each other?
You would think so.
In this analogy, John is Adam Sandler. Am I correct? Is that what he's saying right here?
Not only that, but John is should be and is on the same level as Howard Stern.
Right. Yes, because people
They're
tune into
peers.
Howard Stern to hear Stuttering John's segment.
And, you know, Lorne Michaels fucked up and let Sandler in the building. Sandler went nuts once he got in there and just did whatever he wanted. Lorne had no idea what was coming out of Adam Sandler.
Yeah, he didn't go on to produce all of his movies and
Right.
work with him on that.
Right. He ran with it. No, he worked. It's
Right.
called work, motherfucker.
And John, and this was pointed out by Mersh when he was watching One Too Many, John really thinks he is Adam Sandler. You know, in that movie, he's the quirky guy who gets the hot girl, and he's also a musician. He's playing the guitar, and, you know, he's pulling out all the stops. Just like, that's not natural. That's why I got such negative reviews. Everyone watched that and went, well, this doesn't make any sense.
Well, there's some people that think the whole Susanna banged Adam Sandler thing is bullshit just because he so wants to be Adam Sandler.
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
wants to get his attention and wants to, you know.
That's an interesting theory. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
Well, he's right in the fact that Lorne Michaels and Howard Stern gave both those guys an opportunity to shine. But what he doesn't specify is that Adam Sandler was way more successful after he left SNL because he did it himself. He didn't have Lorne Michaels making him the superstar and highest paid actor that he was at one point, or the Netflix deals, or anything that Adam Sandler is known for in the last 10 years. You know, he's not, you know, it's not Lorne Michaels presents Adam Sandler. It's Adam Sandler is Adam Sandler. But this guy's he forever has to keep Stuttering John in front of his moniker, even though he said he's not Stuttering John anymore. Now he's John Melendez. But apparently a lot of these expos didn't get the memo that he's not Stuttering John Melendez anymore. Yeah.
And we can obviously point out dissimilarities all day, but another thing that is pretty obvious here, Adam Sandler honed an act, had talent, went and auditioned, won the job versus probably 200 other comedians who wanted that role. John was hired as an unpaid intern because he stuttered.
Right.
It's a pretty big difference in how these two guys both ended up in their respective roles.
I said this the other night when we were watching it. There are people that you know, at one point he was Adam Sandler from SNL.
Yep.
And now he's the guy who started at SNL. He is Adam Sandler. He is he's bigger than SNL.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You know? And he doesn't, it's just, why not me? Just complaining and the victim every fucking time.
Oh my gosh. So he's sitting next to Michael Papa John, who was in Waterboy. Do you think he's telling that story about Susanna?
Oh,
immediately?
without
That's
a doubt.
First thing out of his mouth, right?
And I'm sure Papa John ain't got great things to say about Sandler if he's doing these conventions now. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
His phone ain't ringing, so fucking, I'm sure they were commiserating over there.
All right, so John's continuing to blast Howard Stern, and this just cracks me up. I love that John still feels this way.
When Howard was the judge on America's Got Talent, they had a stuttering comic on, and when they went to the judges to get their feedback, Howard said to the stuttering comic, "Let me just say something.
Right.
You, my friend, are an inspiration." And I'm sitting there, and my kid told me, and Artie too was like, "He's an inspiration. You're a stutterer who worked with Howard for 15 years. You became the freaking announcer on the biggest late night talk show, and you're not an inspiration. And it's really and it really is shocking.
Right.
And that's his greatest flaw besides being a cheap son of a bitch.
He just can't help himself. Now, the fact that Howard did that, I was watching AGT at that time. I remember this happening. I am glad that this still bothers John to this day.
Yeah.
That's one of the greatest things Howard's ever done because it's still bothering John. But the reason why Howard was inspired, now, of course, it's TV Howard, so not real Howard.
Of course.
The reason why TV Howard's inspired by this because that guy was actually funny. He put together
hilarious.
An act. He was good.
Yeah.
John got a spite hire to be on a TV show and failed miserably and lost the job very quickly.
Also, Robin's better half dumped water on him because he's farting at a dinner table. Yep. He's getting a ticket for pissing in public. What kind of inspiration are you for stutterers? What kind of role model are you? Tells people drinking curbs his stuttering, cures his stuttering. Yeah, what a fucking role model. What an inspiration.
But he's also, his mentality is like, why isn't Howard praising me on America's Got Talent? Why isn't he bringing me up to this stuttering comedian?
Because it's
on this guy's,
over.
well, it's because it's like this is this guy's big moment on national television. This is making this guy's career something bigger than what it could be. And Howard Stern has to go, next to Stuttering John Melendez, you are an inspiration to stutterers everywhere.
You're up there with another guy.
It's like going to a grocery store you used to work at, you used to bag groceries at, and you see somebody bagging and the manager says, "Good job." And he goes, "How come nobody ever said good job to me when I was bagging groceries?"
Right.
Go, you go, what the fuck is wrong with this grown adult?
So you just heard John transition this into how cheap Howard is. So he's got to go down the list of all the grievances he has about Howard.
Like for Christmas one year from Howard, we all got popcorn canisters.
Oh, here we go again.
I mean, I can't hear that story. I can't hear that story ever again. For fuck's sake, John, get over it.
And you would think, he's told it so many times, you'd think he would know to learn how to tell it better, but he's telling the story. He goes, and Ganji, same thing. Nobody knows who Ganji is. Right. Nobody. Set it up. Explain who these people are if you're going to be stuck in this loop of 30 years ago. Set it up.
Pronouns, one more clip on here because so then he has to talk about how great Leno is. Leno gave him $5,000. Howard gave him popcorn. That makes one guy better than the other guy.
You won't find anybody who worked for Jay Leno trashing him. Yet if you look at all the people that work for Stern, there's a long line of people that take exception to the way he was handling his employees.
There's a little.
I mean, he's at the front of the line. He may be the only one. He may be the only one.
He definitely is at this point because Jackie's not doing it. Artie had a little issue for a little while and then cooled off.
Artie was also whacked out of his mind on drugs,
Artie had some issues going on, correct. But yeah, I love that he acts like this is what everyone does. Everyone goes out and trashes Howard Stern. It's just like, that's not the case, man. I don't know. I like I said, I just had Jim Florentine on the show. He was a big part of the Howard Stern show for a while there. And
not to mention, I know people that left there on not so great terms and left in an ugly way on both sides.
Bob Levy.
No, Bob. No. Scott Salem. But even he's not doing a show trashing Howard. He makes the mistake of telling John shit, and then John goes on his show and repeats it. But there's people up there that can have gripes, and I know they have gripes, and they're not following through on it.
No, because in most people's worlds, trashing former employers gets you nowhere. All it does is it shows future employers that you're not someone that they want to work with.
Exactly.
This is what I talk about with Steel Toe all the time. I find it hilarious that Steel Toe's on there trashing his ex April. It was in the theme song, and then we shamed him, so we put a guitar riff over so you can't hear it anymore. But everything he does is trash April and talk about what a coke whore she is and how awful she was. And before that, it was his other ex, Ashley, that he would trash all the time. I'm like, what is Slam Piece doing? Like, you realize this is what this guy does. As soon as he's done with you, you're a piece of shit.
Nah, this will be different, sweetie. Don't you worry about it. Let me get to some of these super chats and then we'll wrap things up here. I have a prediction, says Dernbag. Johnny's going to go to Turkey and get new legs. Then he's going to turn on toe because Lady Crutches didn't get to sit on stage at the anniversary show. It can happen. As crazy as it sounds, it can happen.
They have legs in Turkey too? Holy shit, they got everything there.
Does Stuttering John talk to Vince the lawyer? Since I don't know, Vince, does he? Oof. I know I don't, and life's much better. They goofed on my gigs. Security. Lenny for super tips. Each one starts with a sigh. I'm surprised he held back on yelling about the potato, the shitware, and Pocky. Well, he thinks it's hurting us by not bringing our name up on the Peter Blake sports web.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're fine.
Right. Lend me $10 for Gugan. No, I'm not falling for that again. Hamhead gifting 5. Thank you, Hamhead. Appreciate that, pal. Assman, are y'all forgetting SJ was a Little League All-Star and could have easily had an MLB career if not for Leno and Stern?
He also, in his book, claimed he always wanted to be a professional boxer. I mean, list anything, and John was going to be successful. Yeah.
Can I get a good luck from TSN for my daughter Natalie's soccer game? She's a huge fan of Don. Don?
Oh, hey, Ricky. Yes, Rick. All the best to your daughter Natalie's soccer game.
Who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck?
Jesus,
Thank you. Wait, Jim J. Buck likes cock? Oh, we'll catch you up. Been here 19 months. You're a little behind. There is something we're not seeing with John. There is no way his family / mom are paying his bills forever. Did he cash out a pension, another job? Okay, first of all, pensions, as far as cashing them out, I don't think he's cashed out another pension. I know that pension he talked about coming from LAUSD was nothing that would last more than a month. It was not a lot of money. So yeah, there's no other explanation for it. If he's working, he would have blown it by now.
Also, his SAG pension, he always talks about that. Like, he didn't do a lot in show business to make enough to grab a pension of that nature. I mean, you can't retire off a couple of episodes of Wings.
Whatever pensions he has, one of them was taken out over 10 years ago. So
now his mom has money. His dad probably left him a bunch of money, or his mom's controlling that stuff. Left her the money for whatever reason, and he's given enough. I would say an allowance to maintain his lifestyle on, which is just drinking beer and hanging out at home.
Yes, but that's a story according to John that his dad left a lot of money. So who knows at the end of the day what's going on there? I do think that the mom is on the hook for a lot of this. I really do believe that. There's nothing else.
The ad agency, they probably landed a big client recently.
There's no other gig he's done since he's come back, or even before YouTube, where he's made that money.
I'd love to know how much money he made at the Tampa Sports Expo.
Oh,
I would absolutely love to. Did anybody go to this thing? I saw a couple photos of him sitting by himself, but we're not getting the same coverage that we did from ChillerCon.
First of all, I'm almost positive you got to pay for your spot, right?
Yeah,
like any other convention.
Yep.
So whatever.
Yeah, especially if the money's not going through the convention. You're dealing directly with John, so he's paying for every minute he's sitting there.
Yeah, it's a lot of those wrestling conventions do that. You pay a flat fee for your booth, and you keep everything, all the pictures and autographed money. I think Peter Blake is lighting the loafers. I don't know. We're going to try and get him on, talk to him, see what that experience was like. Wasn't Gary Garver Stern's Hollywood correspondent way back in 91? Yeah, Gary Garver was the West Coast John, minus the stuttering and completing his job up until he didn't. But Gary was the one who got a hold of OJ on the golf course, if you guys remember that.
Yep.
SJ doesn't inspire, he perspires. Look at this. Look at this, Miguel. Checking in. Geez, John's been eating his feelings. The ghoul has put on 30 pounds. He looked terrible in there. He does look terrible. That arm wrestling shirt was once completely black. Great point. Great point. Well, listen, the DabblePoint roundtable has concluded. Karl, please promote all your good stuff.
Yeah, so who are these podcasts? Every Wednesday and Saturday, we still have the audio podcast. Or if you listen to podcasts, just go to your player and subscribe to Who Are These Podcasts. Listen for free. We will be on Wednesday with the great Adam Bush and producer Chris, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And I believe we're doing a bonus show for everyone who's on our YouTube channel, subscribes on there, or on our Patreon. We'll be doing another edition of Living in the Past with Stuttering John tomorrow afternoon. So that's where we go back to the 2018 podcast before the Dabbleverse existed.
Those are great. Those are great. I was thinking of, I feel like we don't have enough John Heat. I was thinking of reviewing his audio book. Any chance you could help us out with some clips?
I might have a couple clips to that. I might have that laying around somewhere if you wanted to do that. It's amazing. That was one of the most fun things we did on our Patreon. All still available. You can go on there and check out all of our episodes of us listening to Easy For You to Say.
There you go. And check out the when they go back to his 2018 podcast. That's a great walk down memory lane.
Thank
John
you, buddy.
completely unhinged, and it's fantastic. And much more coherent, believe it or not. Like,
yeah,
it's a
he
completely
sounds
different
different.
guy.
The what he's saying is all the same, but he sounds different saying it.
Yes, right, exactly. The 13th of September is when my good.
Yeah, go ahead, go for it, man.
Oh, I was just going to say, 13th September, my good friend Anthony Zenhauser will be in Rochester Comedy at the Carlson. Go get your tickets, carlsoncomedy.com. Go support Anthony. He's a funny motherfucker, and you'll enjoy yourself.
Someone else may be there as well.
Oh, let's see. You never know. You never know.
Stuttering John coming, I heard.
He's opening for you, I heard.
Wow. Yeah.
I'll be back on tonight at 8. So come check out the show and go support everybody. Be safe. Talk to you later. Thank you, Karl. Thank you, Zenny. Thank you to the boys in the back and all of you in the chat. Hit like on your way out. Bye-bye.
Point Double Point.